We're in. Hold up, let me turn on the sound again. I always have it off when I'm just grinding by my lonesome. I have my own like music or videos or whatever, and that's kind of, you know, that keeps me going, right? The game music is good too, though. I like it. Oh, American snack box. What? Huh. I mean, look, I just made me a pizza, so I'm nice and full for now. But my pizza wasn't like that. That didn't. I don't think that falls under junk food / snacks. My pizza, it had all the vegetables in it, like all of them. All right. Let's see. So I don't have any specific plans here. I have an EXP booster on, so I should make use of that. I should at least kill things till that wears off. Level 33, I'm working on Ninja because, well, you know, why not? I can't do the Primivians yet, so I guess I'll just level up Ninja some more. Although I have leveled up Beastmaster too. I got Beastmaster up to level 52. And the funny thing is that it went by incredibly fast. Like, I went from, now to be fair, I was almost level 51, because, you know, I was at the cap for a while. But, I went from almost level 51 to, like 1,000 EXP into level 52. And that just happened in one play session. And I didn't even play that long, it's just I just went to a new area and I started killing things and I'm like, oh hey, there's some decent loot here. So I figured, I'll kill things till I get like a stack or two, right? And then sell it. And while I was doing that, I was just killing things so fast, and it was just nice and smooth. Like 2 levels went by. Like, funny enough, the leveling isn't really slowing down, at least not in the 50s yet. But for Ninja, okay, for Ninja, yeah, I have to be a little more careful because I can't summon a pet as a Ninja / Beastmaster. I have to charm my pet. Some tough enemies out there, but not too bad. Uh-oh, somebody already wants a party. Uh-oh. Is there a translate no thanks? Yeah, there you go. No thanks. I don't want to party with Ninja. I don't know. I don't like Ninja that much. I really don't. I want the benefits that Ninja gives you when it's a sub-job, but I don't really like playing Ninja itself. It's not really a very interesting or fun class for me. I'm a Pokemon master. That's all I want to do. Alright, so yeah, I guess, you know, no plan, so let's burn some EXP, I guess. When I finally hit level 37, then oh god, I'll be done with Ninja. I'll be done with it. Never again. Huh. I took a quick look, like, I looked up some stuff on Metin too, and I mean, it looks a lot like quite a few games that I've played in the past. Like, I've played, you know, I'm not a fan of them, but I have played a few Korean, like, grindy-ass Korean MMOs, like, hey, I did Ion, I played Lineage 2 a little bit, and there were some other ones, too, that I can't even remember the name of, but the visual look of the game, it reminds me of pretty much all of the Korean MMOs I've played. So I don't know, I don't have high hopes, but I will totally download and install it sometime and take a look at it. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I have played grindy Korean MMOs. I've played plenty of them. And, I mean, the thing is, yeah, they tend to be grindy, but not in a fun way. Now, it's kind of funny that I say that, because, like, I mean, what is this game if not grind? But I think this is sort of the difference between, like, Japanese RPG grinding and Korean RPG grinding. I think the difference is whenever I've played like Korean MMOs or anything like that, the grind is insane. Like I mean fucking insane. Like you have you know, drop chances so low for what should be common items. You have EXP rates that are like a fraction of a percent of EXP. It's just, yeah, it's grindy in a not fun way. That's kind of... Yeah, I was looking at the official, but if a private server is a little, you know, a little better on that, that might be the way to go for me. See, I guess here's the thing, I don't generally like PvP. I can't really think of any game that wasn't like a competitive shooter where I thought the PvP was fun, right? Like, for me, PvP and RPGs just doesn't really mix, and I've tried it a lot. I mean, hey, one of my favorites, Ultima Online, I mean, that is full PvP, and, well, even on private servers, when there's people playing, what that means is you just go outside of town and you die immediately. You know, it's not very fun. And that's kind of been my experience with, like, open PvP RPGs, is it's just, you go out of town and then you get griefed into submission. That's my experience. Like, I'm always open to try new experiences, but I have doubts. And that, and just as far as like MMOs go, I am settling in so nicely to FF11. Like, you know, I'm frustrated that I can't get a group of 6 people to help me out on the Primivians. That sucks, but yeah, I'll get it eventually. Eventually I'll get lucky. But otherwise, like, oh no, I'm having a great time here. I don't want to jump ship just yet. Well, I'd assume if there's, like, opposing kingdoms, so, like, okay, how a lot of, I'm just guessing this might be a way they do it, because this is how games like, say, Ion did it, which I used to like Ion, and I think Lineage 2, no, Lineage 2 you could kill anyone, but in Ion, it was, like, 2 factions, and in your faction's areas, you know, you were relatively safe. Only opposing factions could kill each other. But they had Ion had an interesting system where portals would occasionally open up, and you could kind of like hop over to the other faction's zones and just do whatever you wanted. And so every now and then, yeah, like you'd just be doing quests or whatever, and you just get killed by some high level just out of nowhere. Again, it kinda sucked. It's just my, it's just sort of my experience, even with games that I really like. If they have any form of non-consensual PvP, like in any form, it acts like a magnet for people that like to grief, you know? And hey there, Lifeless. How's life? How you doing? I'm just over here going on a rant about PvP in my RPGs. I'm trying to think. Like, in my vast experience, in my 35 years of life, have I played an open PvP game where I didn't feel like it was just a grief fest? I'm scouring my memory. Oh, nice. Oh god, I'm trying to keep it on the down low that I'm streaming. That's why I don't say anything. I don't look, I'm in a link shell, and you know they're like, oh god, I hate streamers, and it's like, yeah, man, me too. I don't make it known, right? But I guess if you waved, I tend to zone out. I tend to zone out when I play. Like, I tend to just, you know, when I'm not streaming it, I have my music on, or I'm listening to something, or hell, as a Beastmaster, I'm probably watching a movie while my pet is killing things. Like, I literally might not be looking at the screen, is the thing. So is the Beastmaster life, right? Oh, okay. You don't see many three-letter names. I think on average most people have at least 4 letters for a name. I didn't even know you could have just like 3 letters. I thought that'd be too short. Wait, is there a limit? I never really thought about that, but like, is there a limit on how short a name can be in FF11? I never really thought about that. Can you just have 1 letter? Is there an A out there somewhere? Is there an alphabet gang? But yeah, I will say, anybody that kind of approaches me in game, I will often be unresponsive, and it's just because when I'm playing Beastmaster, or hell, even slash Beastmaster half the time, even if I'm in combat, like, I'm not really, you know, I don't have to give it my full attention, and that's kind of the perk of Beastmaster, right? Okay, so you can't be the letter A or AB, but you can be ABC. Okay, I gotcha. As an aside, something I've noticed, it's not just specific to this game, but it's kind of a gaming in general thing these days, where people are very fast to accuse people who maybe don't respond, or you know, they don't really interact back. Some people are very fast to say, oh, you're botting, you're a bot, but it's like, man, it's like maybe they're just not paying attention. A lot of people just don't pay attention. That includes me. Oh, hey, the pet's going berserk again. Gotta wrangle it in. I'm kind of surprised that I can keep a charm as good as I do. I only charm like easy or decent, specifically so I don't have to worry about it so much. But like, I don't have that much charisma. I have 30 plus 7, which isn't really that much. See, here's a weird thing. So many people, okay, so first off, I'm a little unclear as to how charm, like, I'm unclear as to how exactly it works in general. Like, is charisma your charm chance, or does it boost the duration, or both? I'm not sure. Honestly, I've experimented with taking all my charm gear, you know, or all of my charisma gear off, and it doesn't really seem to change much, whether I'm Beastmaster primary or secondary. Like, is charisma just like a... Like, I know there's the max, like, the actual level thing for Beastmaster, but as far as charisma goes, is it just a placebo? is charisma a sugar pill? I don't know. It feels like it sometimes. But yeah, I know about the max level thing. That's why I like to level Beastmaster up first. Well, it's one of the reasons. But, man, sometimes stats just feel like a placebo in general in this game. But, oh yeah, what I wanted to say, sorry, I get very distracted. I have attention problems. So, I often hear people, they're like, oh man, Beastmaster, I can't stand it. Oh, it's, and I've never really gotten that, because, so for me, Beastmaster has always been my favorite class in the game. It's not just that I like to solo. I really like to solo. Like, I really like, like, honestly, I could play this completely alone and be happy. Now, I don't want trusts or anything like that. I like that you know, if I want to do, like, big content, I have to get a group still. I like that. But, you know, I like soloing. Also, I just find Beastmaster to be a very unique class. Like, yeah, you have the charming stuff, which is fun, but even if you go with a Jug Pet, it's Pokemon! I mean, you're basically playing Pokemon with Final Fantasy. It's great. Like, it just feels like a whole other game to me, and I love that. So for me, I always level up Beastmaster first, both so I can solo and do things, and also so that I can use it as a sub-job, too. Because whenever I want to level up a class that I don't really like Ninja, rather than worrying about gear and ninja tools and, you know, disappointing a party and all that, no, I just Beastmaster it out, right? I'm already level 33. The levels just fly by, especially with an EXP boost. But I guess if you mean the levels, if you mean like the low levels, I don't know, the problem in the low levels with Beastmaster is that it doesn't... Well, I think the problem is that anything you can charm, like, they have such low HP to start. So, anything that you charm will pretty much die, like, each fight. You basically need a new pet every fight. Like, in the very early levels, I think I did more, like more actual fighting, rather than just letting the pet do everything. See, here's the thing, the way that I play Final Fantasy XI, like, I'm not opposed to getting good, and I do want to have better gear at some point, but especially for classes that I don't really have any interest in playing long-term. Like, I don't want to get gear for that. You know, I don't want to get gear, I don't want to spend money on consumables, you know, generally, and this is another thing I like about Beastmaster, when I level up solo, I like to come out of it with more money than I started. So I like to make gil as I'm leveling up, right? So no consumables, you know, spend as little as possible. For Ninja, I will spend a little on Utsusemi, but that's not too expensive, that's not too bad. But when you party up, especially with certain classes, it can get real expensive. And that's just not an expense I want for a class I don't even like. But even with even with Beastmaster, like, I'm still using level, like, my armor is level 17. My rings and stuff is like level 14. I think I have like a level 11 body piece. And then my weapons are level 43 when I'm level 52. So, you know, all my gear is way behind, right? It's basically stuff that I found. But it works, and I love that. Like, I love that it actually works out. Also, that other guy, yeah, he killed off the Pugil that I was gonna tame. And now my Pugil's just going nuts, so I have to put it down. It's been very bad. Gets to go to the farm. But look at this. I'm sitting on almost 500k. I could most certainly invest some of that into better equipment. I probably should, but I don't know. Is it bad that I'd rather spend the money on, like, I don't know, better fishing gear? Maybe get some field equipment. Maybe crafting materials so I can level up cooking. I don't know, I feel like I play Final Fantasy XI very differently than what is the norm. But that's just how I do it, and I have fun with it. And I see that group back there, but I need me a new Pugil, alright? I'll go for the 29. There we go. I'm assuming that they're going to be killing enemies on this side of the mountain. So I know that some groups get really butthurt if you start killing enemies around them, but like, hey, look, there's no claim on any of that, all right? No one owns anything. Everything is fair competition in this game. You know, don't get mad if I happen to be able to solo these things, right? I need that EXP too. Which I have to say, like, even when I'm using it as a sub job, I find that on average, leveling up solo with Beastmaster in some form, I honestly find that it levels up about as fast as the average EXP party. I mean, when you factor in a couple of things, right? Like, factor in that in an EXP party, so first off, you have to form it, right? Like, you have to put the party together, and that usually takes a while. You know, like, it can take anywhere from a half hour to like 2 hours to form a party in this game. So the thing is I'm already ahead of the curve, right? Because I don't have to sit around on my ass waiting for a party or trying to put one together. Like, that's saving like an hour or two right there, right? So I'm already an hour or so ahead of the curve, and then on top of that, the actual rate at which I kill things is pretty fast. I stick mostly to easy and low decent enemies. So you don't get the most EXP, but the kills are fairly quick. I find it is very comparable to the average EXP party. Like, a really good EXP party, I'd say, would be better. But honestly, I have been in more bad parties than good. I've been in more parties that they take that hour or so to form, and then the group gets there, and then their ego flies wild, and for one reason or another, they nope out, and then everything falls apart, and then you just wasted all that time. So for me, I kind of prefer to just do my own thing, and you know, I'm not opposed to playing with others, but mostly I like to keep that to missions and big quests, you know, things with a little more purpose, right? Oh yeah, I'd imagine Summoner, I mean, eventually those elemental staffs, right? But yeah, I guess with Summoner you don't even have to worry about buying jugs, right? I mean, as a Beastmaster, I use only the cheapest jugs possible, so I'm always gonna make money no matter what. But I guess as a Summoner you don't even have to buy jugs. Which I do want to eventually go Summoner again. So on pretty much every private server I've played on, and back in retail too, I always go Summoner, and not as a main profession, but mainly just like to do the avatar fights. I find the mini avatar fights to be very fun. Like I think they're a good challenge. And you feel really good when you finally beat the avatar and you know, you collect that Pokemon, right? Oh yeah, Thief. God, see, here's the thing. I like Thief more than Ninja. I'll say that, right? I like it more than Ninja. However, I don't know. I don't really want to play Thief, but at the same time, I really want that treasure hunter. Like I really want that treasure hunter. I mean, right now I have Thief at 15 for the first one, but like treasure hunter too, right? I wants it. I needs it. But yeah, I don't really want to. I don't want to commit to Thief. I would imagine, like, I would imagine that Thief, like, if you really wanted to level it up, I would imagine Thief would actually pair incredibly well with Beastmaster, right? Because you tell, like, you charm a pet, you tell the pet to attack something, and then you get in there and sneak attack, right? Like, you can basically sneak attack while you're solo. Like, that'd be pretty awesome. I wonder if you could somehow line it up right, if you could do like the full sneak trick attack. I feel like that would be really hard to line up, but yeah, it draws a lot of hate. That is true. You would only really get one shot at it. Like you get one sneak attack, right? But that's better than the no sneak attacks that you get, like, if you're fighting enemies that don't detect by sight. Which is, I think more enemies detect by sound than sight, so... Although, then again, I just thought of something. So, Thief does have, like, there are, like, arrows that can sleep, right? Or bolts, because they can use a crossbow. I wonder if you could use that to get, like, if you could sneak attack doing that. I do not know. Oh, someone's talking about the first Primivian. So, I don't know, I'll say, I need them all. I don't know if I have time to do it all right now, but hey, if someone's putting a group together... Ah, okay. I wasn't actually sure if that, like, if that would work out, but I guess I might have to try that when eventually when I level up Thief some more. Because that does sound like a fun combo. The thing is that I have, like, on one server I did level up Thief, but I actually never used the crossbow. Because the bolts are expensive, like, relative to, like, wooden arrows, the bolts are pretty expensive, right? Let's see if I can, feel like that might, actually, that might be cutting it a little close there. That might be cutting it close. I feel like the Acrophies are, like, they're probably gonna uncharm relatively soon. So I'll get out of range and just rest my health up. Oh, crafting. Crafting! I've only really just got into crafting in Final Fantasy XI. I never really did it before. But this time around, I've got cooking up to level 20 so far. I have clothcraft up to 10, and then I'm well, I mean, fishing isn't really technically a craft, but I'm doing fishing too, and that's over. It's like getting close to level 40 now. So I might I might invest in more trade skills. Like, I find for most items that you can craft, I feel like you spend more money on the materials than the finished item is worth. Maybe I just haven't found the good crafts, but for most of them, for what I've been doing so far, with very few exceptions, like, you spend more money on the mats, or if you just sold the mats, you would make more gil than actually crafting something. And I mean, that's how it is in a lot of RPGs, but it feels backwards. It feels really backwards. But I guess maybe there's some things where it works out. Also, yeah, my pet uncharmed, and I guess it reset positions, right? Huh. Like, I look at that and I'm like, oh my god, 25k for a stack of anything. But I guess, yeah, I guess if you get like 33 out of each craft, then okay, that's not as bad. That works out a little better, but it is still, yeah, it's still rough. Still rough. Alright, just trying to find something that's like the highest level thing that isn't too high that I can charm. And most of these Acrophies are they're just a little too high level for me. Ah, okay. Huh. Okay, yeah, I thought it'd be like 12, but if it's 99, then... Okay, yeah, that can work out. That can work out. Yeah, I guess for stuff like that, I guess you really have to work in bulk. Like if you're buying, you gotta go in bulk, and if you're crafting, yeah, I guess bulk craft and really make it worth it. I just find that I do like the crafting and everything in this game. Even though it's not super involved. Because it's so complicated and everything you can make is pretty much needed by someone, I like the economics of it. But actually crafting, it's always been so intimidating for me. I think it's because when you first start crafting anything, you just fail constantly, and you're just wasting gil, and that feels really bad. Like, it took me a while to kind of realize that crafting is not fishing. That you can't craft something 10 levels higher than you and it'll work. I wasted a lot of gil trying to brute force that. Oh, also, the wife is home, so I may need to break for a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm gonna auto run into Delkfoot's tower. Okay. So I'm auto running into the tower, and I'll see if I have time still. Alright, I'm back. I didn't need to auto run into the tower. So okay, we're good for a little bit. We're good for a little bit right now. But yeah, I don't know. On crafting in FF11, it's a little much to get a grasp for how it works and how you're really just supposed to go about it. And I think that's a big hump to get over. And then even once you get over it, you'll realize, oh my god, it costs so much money to actually grind this out. But I think, yeah, my first problem was that I tried to, like, go for things 10 levels higher than me, and that does not work. With fishing, that works out. Not with crafting. Also, this might kill my pet, so I guess I should be ready to tame something else. Maybe put Utsasemi on. I find that gets the most use just when I'm in between pets and the enemy is just beating on me. I guess I haven't been making use of the synth support, because you have to go to your guild location, right? And well, for cooking, like, that's Windurst, and I don't want to go there. Oh. So, well, I guess for skill ups, yeah, it works to do it like that, but you'll fail a lot though, right? Like you'll fail quite a bit. Or at least that's what happened for me. I didn't get that advanced support though. So eventually what I settled on was doing crafts that are like 4 to 5 levels higher, and then we'll just doing those until I catch up to that level. Like, I try to find the easiest thing to craft, and then keep crafting it until I catch up to it. And that seemed to work out so that I don't waste too many materials, but if I, like, even at 5 levels higher, I would fail a lot. But I think it's mostly just there is quite a chance of failure, and it can be very discouraging to just shatter the crystal, blow up all your materials, and just have that happen over and over again. Oh, it's another undead over there. I always, like, this zone, I mean, it's pretty good, mostly easy enemies for me to fight, but when it gets nighttime, well, yeah, then the banshees come out, the skeletons come out. It gets so much more dangerous at night here. Like, in a way that I think even Valkurm Dunes does not get this dangerous at night. And that's just a noob trap, but the island, oh. I'll have my pet rest for a second and get my health back up. also since the lightning weather passed, but something I always found very curious about this particular zone. Just an aside thought. So, when you're doing the summoner, the, you know, collect the rainbow, the different element quest, you can't get lightning weather at Kufum Island. And so it's because the island counts as a dungeon, right? But I don't really understand why. like some areas in this game are classified as dungeons, and I feel like for most of them it kind of makes sense, because they're usually either like, I don't know, a castle or an underground tunnel thing, or, you know, there's something that you could kind of wrap your head around as being a dungeon. But I mean, Kufum Island is just, it's an island. Like, it's just an island. I mean, why does this class as a dungeon? I don't really see it. Wait, was Kufum Island not part of the base game? I guess the thing is that the earliest that I played this game was during Rise of Zalart, which I think that might have been just how it released in North America, right? But I never really thought of Kufum Island as being like expansion content. Huh. I guess I thought this was always here. I guess it's hard to imagine a game where Kufum Island isn't there. It's such an integral part of the game to me. Uh-oh, I'm letting my health dip a little too deep here. And he's poisoning me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And I'm paralyzed. Maybe I should run this one. Like, I'm poisoned and paralyzed. Maybe I should retreat, right? The thing is, the paralysis is the real killer here. Like, if I fail to charm because I'm paralyzed, that'll get me killed. So I should have rested more before attacking that one. It happens. I think I have enough health, right? Yeah, it ticks down 3 per tick, and yeah, I've got enough health to survive that. I don't have to, like, emergency teleport to town and run to the Mog House. Well, I guess I have myself a little downtime now. But I guess I'm not really clear on what is Zalart content. I wonder, since so much of, I think Samurai, right? I'm not sure if Ninja was added with Zalart too, but I think Samurai was Zalart. I know that much. Was the whole Elshimo region, like, is that Zalart content too? I wonder. Like, I guess the problem is that on most, like, on, you know, in retail back in the day, Zalart was the earliest that I played, so I didn't really have a concept for the base game. And on every private server that I've played on... Oh, okay, so everything above level 50. Oh, so, like, 50 was the original limit then. Huh. I guess for some reason I always thought 75 was just always the level cap. Well, okay. Huh. Then I'm wondering if, like, all the stuff to the north of Sandoria, like, you know, the Northlands, I guess maybe that was the original end game, maybe, I guess? Yeah, but again, the problem is like every private server I've played on, which I always go for classic, because, you know, that's what I have nostalgia for. But the earliest, like the absolute earliest I've seen on a server is Promathia, the Chains of Promathia. That's like as early as any server runs it. And then Eden, which I did like that server. They had up to Treasures of Ot Ergen. I think that's how it's said. And I never actually did any of that content. Although, hey, Blue Mage came with that. I would like to play Blue Mage. Ah, okay. So Kufum was in the original. Okay. I mean, I kind of feel like it because it's so connected to Juno and everything, right? Okay, so like the whole Kuzats region, so the desert, then El Shimo, and all that stuff. Okay, so it was the Kuzats and El Shimo regions that was added. That I can see, because those, well, like they both have sort of a loose connection to the rest of the game. Like, you know, you go to El Shimo by a boat, just a totally new separate boat. And then you go to the tunnel, or you go through that tunnel that's connected to Bastok, but that's like, yeah, that's still a very loose connection, right? So I get those. I can get that. Alright, look, I want my revenge. Okay. I demand revenge. Huh. So, I mean, I've never seen Dynamis or anything. Like, 55 is as high as I've ever gotten. I've never gotten over level 55. Like, the thing is, I usually lose interest in this game around level 50, and it's not that the game gets bad or anything, but I think it's that a lot of the tedium involved in leveling up and like leveling up, gearing up, doing missions, a lot of the tedium that was there from the beginning, it just keeps ramping up, right? And at a certain point, I just sort of stop playing for a while, and then I forget about it, and then it feels like, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing when I log in now. I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to avoid it this time. But I'm already kind of feeling it because, well, okay, like, I want to do the Prometheans now, right? I want to do those, but I can never get anyone to do it with, so I'm just sort of stuck. I want to do my nation missions, which I did get rank 3, and now I'm rank 4. That rank 3, that boss fight is kind of a hump for me. But, you know, hey, I finally got that done, right? But I know there's going to be harder missions coming up that I'm also going to need help for. I'm kind of surprised that Dragoon was not a base game class. That kind of surprises me. I also didn't know that Summoner was an expansion class too. I guess that always seemed like it fit right in as being just a like a base game thing. But, oh, okay. Alright, this bat's gonna go down, so I'm gonna send him in to die on the blowbat, and then I guess I'll charm this this crab. That's level 27. They're both level 27. Doesn't really matter too much. So the thing is, back in the day, I remember when Chains of Promathia came out, I bought the box and everything back then, but I don't think I actually did anything with it. I think I popped into one of the Prometheans and poked around, but then I found I couldn't do anything, and nobody wanted to team up for it, so I was just... Basically, what's happening to me now is what happened to me back in the day. So I really know, like, I know nothing about the Promathia expansion. That region that it adds, it has always mystified me. It's this forbidden zone that I could never get to, so I'm hoping to unlock it this time. Let's see, it's using the wrong macro. I guess. I mean, for me, I always thought the way to do this is to, like, you know, advertise that you need something, or join a link shell that will help you to do things like a guild, right? And every now and then, this link shell, it's mostly a social one, but every now and then they're helpful, and they can, like, they help me to do my mission, my nation mission for rank 3. But it's, for me, it's, a lot of the problem, too, is just that I play in fairly off hours compared to most of the population of the game. And I do agree, like, this game is about connections. I think where I tend to disagree, like, where there's a bit of a schism between me and how a lot of people approach FF11, I don't think necessarily that you should be, like, chained to group play. And that's how it can feel when you don't have Beastmaster leveled up. Like, I think that if you just want to log in, and, you know, you want to log in, you want to level up, you want to make some gil, you want to, you know, do some light questing, basically, if you just want to log in the game and just play and do productive things and fight challenging enemies, and, you know, I feel like you should be able to just do that, you know, like, without forming a full group of 6, you know, you should be able to just hop in and have fun. And so that's why I play the game the way that I do. But, I do think that, yeah, like, the group play for mission content, for, you know, the hard stuff, like, you know, the expansion missions and stuff like that, I think, like, yeah, making a connection and grouping up with people for that's good, that's important. But I guess I'm not a fan of that being enforced for just, like, relatively casual play. But also, for me, the connection thing, I look at that not just as a group thing, but, well, okay, like, joining a link shell, right? Having a group of people that maybe you party up with them sometimes, but mostly they're just fellow players of the game that you can ask for help and you can interact with on the average, and, you know, you make those friendship connections, right? Or hell, the economy. You know, like, if you actively participate in this game's economy, you're gonna have some interactions with people just based on that. Yeah, I do kind of get it. I mean, you know, I'm not opposed to grouping, and, like, there are certain classes that I like to play in a party. I do enjoy White Mage. Like, I don't have a problem healing. And I use White Mage as a sub for Beastmaster, too, so, yeah, it's something I'd level up, right? But I don't know, for me, it's like, the thing is that I have played the game in the past, going with the I only party, you know, no soloing for me. I've done the game that way in the past, like, to try it out, and honestly my results were pretty much the same. Like, whenever I needed help doing something, no one showed up. You know, like, it didn't really help anymore on that front. Like, I'd still meet people, and I'd make connections, and, you know, have my Final Fantasy buddies, but come time that I need help on something, they're like, no, I'd rather farm, right? So I think that's one of those things where you can't really depend on players for that. You can't really depend on them. And I gotta be honest, most, like for all of the parties that I would join, and hey, I make a good connection and all that, for every one of those, there would be like 5 groups where I absolutely hated everyone, and no matter how badass they are, I don't want to play with them. I've had more of those experiences, right? So, I think this is sort of the nature, the general nature of, and maybe problem with, very social heavy games. And we're not even talking RPGs, but just very social heavy games. The problem is that, like, half of the content is the players, the community. And that is such a mixed bag. You know, like, a good community, good players, you know, that make good connections, like, hey, awesome, makes the game real nice and smooth. It's the social lubricant for the gameplay, right? The problem is that can go the opposite direction, and like, oh, bad players, bad community, you know, they're just dumping shit on the gameplay, and now they're making everything worse, and it's a mixed bag. It's a very mixed bag when you have to depend on other players. Like, in an ideal world, I would totally agree with the statement, you know, that you gotta get out there and party with people and all that. You know, ideal world, yes, but that's not my experience. And Vex says, look, I mean, look, I can't say anything about grind. I can't say nothing about that. Though I'm having fun with my grind. I don't know about you. I'm having fun just whacking on monsters and just chugging along. I'm already halfway through my level. I'm halfway through 33. Nice. It's moving. Well, I guess here's the thing. I've had lots of mixed bags, and also, maybe this is just me, but like, I am the type of player that I like to have fun when I play games, and fun does not always mean efficient or productive. Like, you know, look, if it's fun for me as a white mage to whip out my hammer and get the kill on things, that's what I want to do. As long as I'm keeping everyone alive and no one's dying and things, you know, as long as the party is functioning, I don't see that should be an issue. The same goes for a lot of things. Like, as long as no one's dying, the enemies are dying, like, as long as things are chugging along, like, I don't really care how much EXP per hour I'm getting, but there's so many people that care a lot, and they act like total assholes about it, and yeah, I find myself at odds with that type of player, and that type of player tends to kind of be the standard in FF11. That's why I sort of took up Beastmasters, because when I encounter a party where they want me to play in a way that I don't find fun, and they don't tell me beforehand that, like, this is what you're gonna be doing. Like, as a red mage, I would join parties, and, you know, as a red mage, I figure, you know, if they don't specify what I'm doing, I assume that I'm doing everything that a red mage can do. I assume I'm meleeing, I'm throwing in some debuffs, throw out the occasional cure when it's needed, but, you know, I assume I'm doing everything, right? Like, I'm a cog in the machine keeping everything together, right? But so many times I would join a group with no indication of what I'm doing, and the party setup, like, oh, they already have a white mage, so I'm not the healer, right? And, you know, I join, and okay, I'm fighting things, I'm doing a nice good amount of damage with my sword, I'm you know, things are going smoothly, right? And then I get a message from the leader, and they're like, stop fighting, sit down, just meditate and cast Cure. And, like, I've had that happen multiple times as a red mage. And normally red mage is like one of my favorite classes in Final Fantasy, because they're a jack of all trades. But, you know, if somebody, they invite me to the party and I don't know what I'm doing, but then they just, in the middle of things, tell me to just sit down and meditate and cure. Yeah, that kind of angers me, and I'm like, thank you, but no thank you, I'm leaving, goodbye. So maybe that's why I don't get invited to anything, but like, I look at that as a them problem, not a me problem. Now, as a white mage, obviously, I generally don't have many issues. Like, yeah, I like to melee sometimes. Again, only if there's literally not, you know, if I have room for it, right? But I'm more okay to just sit down and heal as a white mage because, well, generally you get invited to be the healer, right? But when you're playing as a class that can do a lot of things, if they don't make it clear what you're doing to begin, you know, I assume I can do whatever, right? I guess. See, here's the thing, right? Maybe, again, I've been playing more, I have, like, at this point in my life, I have played Final Fantasy XIV more than Final Fantasy XI, so maybe I come into it with a little bit of that attitude where, like, you know, you just play the game, right? Oh, hey, I got a scroll of Tractor, that'll sell for a few K. But yeah, I guess I could have asked, I just didn't really, like, I looked at the party list and it's like, well, okay, they have damage dealers, they have a healer, you know, they have a dedicated white mage, honestly, they would be fine with just 5 manning it, right? But, yeah, I guess, could have asked too, I don't know. But I've just encountered so many very controlling players in Final Fantasy XI, and it's not a new thing. This goes all the way back to, like, back in the day. People that will tell you how to play the game, right? And I don't want to sound like I come off as, you don't pay my sub that doesn't exist. I don't want to come off like that. But it's more like, you know, playing a game should be fun. And if I'm not having fun, I'd rather just not play. So, yeah. And that's why I do Beastmaster, because when you have Beastmaster leveled up, if you get into a party, and, you know, like, let's say I'm doing Red Mage or whatever, you get in a party, and there's that lack of communication, but then suddenly they get really controlling and they want me to play a certain way, I have the luxury of saying, thank you, but actually, I can just go solo, I'll make more EXP, I'll make more gil, and I don't have to put up with this, so yeah, I think I'll do that. and that like, God, that makes him so goddamn angry, but I love it. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm a hassle, but that's, you know, I like to know what I'm getting into, and if it's not specified, I don't know. I just figure it's whatever. We're just having fun, right? Like, obviously, if I join a party that has a very specific goal, then I like to... So, like, okay, the first time I joined a Beastmaster Burn party, because I'd never done that before, right? Which, God, those are amazing. The first time I joined one, I straight up asked, like, okay, look, I've never done this. What do you need in order to do this? And they told me, and I'm like, okay, I can do that, and okay, right? But, yeah, I don't know, some people just, like, egos can go out of control, you know? Yeah, I do get, like, respecting others' time. I think a lot of it is maybe just miscommunication on all parties' ends. I mean, I don't know, I've had people get upset at me in a Beastmaster burn party when, like, okay, I join and, well, you know, my Beastmaster gear is complete shit, right? But I keep my weapons up to date. But, like, I got shit because, like, oh, you know, my sub-job is level 15 Thief, right? When I'm, like, level, I think at the time, level 40. But the thing is that, like, that was the sub-job that I was rolling with. Like, they saw it, right? They saw that's what I'm using. You know, you don't make me take like 20 minutes to get out to you, and then complain that you're not, you know, oh, why aren't you ninja, right? Like, especially, I think at the time, I think I was only nation rank 2. So, like, if you see a player that has an underleveled, you know, non-ideal sub-job, and their nation rank is only 2, I mean, you can assume they're a new player, right? Like, you know, they don't have that many jobs leveled, so why would you just assume that, like, you know, they're gonna be geared out and maxed out on everything? Why would you assume that with a rank 2, right? I think that's like situations like that are more what I run into. But, you know, differences of playstyles happen, and I don't like, you know, I try not to be an asshole about it. I like to have fun, and for me, the fun factor is the main thing. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I will, like, if the choice is between being in a 6-man party that is just an EXP factory, you know, you're just cranking out them levels, just ding, ding, ding all over the place. But, you know, it's not a fun party and I'm not having fun. I would rather not do that. If the other choice is like, I don't know, level sinking down to level 10 and playing with someone that I like and just derping around in the newbie zone, you know, taking that 50% EXP penalty because I'm synced down so much, I'd rather do that, right? I'd have a lot more fun doing that. And that's kind of how I approach this game. But I think a lot of people get so caught up in efficiency, they've kind of min-maxed the fun out of the game. Like, I don't think they know what fun is anymore, so I just don't mix good with players like that. It's just a case that it's a bad combo there. I try to make it clear that I'm a fairly casual player, that, you know, like, you're not getting some pro FF11 player, right? I try to make that as clear as I can make it, but I guess it doesn't come across sometimes. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That's a lot of aggro. Or I thought of a good analogy here. A bit of a, like, this is a bit of a tangent, right? But I could make the comparison of pen and paper games, actually. There's two kinds of players, like, for different kinds of pen and paper games. You know, you have, like, people that love their rules and etiquette and kind of process of doing things. I don't know, they play a game like Vampire the Masquerade, right? Like, oh, it's all about your social hierarchy and everything, and playing into that. And then you have, like, your D&D player that just wants to murder hobo through a dungeon, right? And I would say I definitely fall more into the murder hobo category. You know, like, if you put me in, like, a Vampire the Masquerade game, I am just gonna fuck everything up, right? But, like, I acknowledge that. I acknowledge it. So it's kind of the same thing, you know. I'm just the friendly murder hobo. I just want to have fun. And some people, like, they're getting deep into it. Like, they are deep into the efficiency of everything, and yeah, that's just not gonna go well. But, you know, for people that get fun out of that sort of thing, that get fun out of like min-maxing and squeezing every bit of time efficiency, I mean, you know, that is a whole thing on its own. All the power to them, but yeah, ain't for me. I enjoy just watching my crab monster fight a fish monster and die, and then I take control of the fish monster. That's video games, right? Which, how am I for EXP? I feel like I've slowed down a bit. Like, I've been a little over 3,000 for a while, but I think there's more people out here. There's a lot of competition in this area, so I think I'm not finding as many enemies to kill as I was. But with Ninja here, like, I don't even have Warrior leveled up. So like, even I think generally people want Ninja to, like, they want it to tank generally, right? I don't even, like, my Warrior is level 1. I can't even provoke. So like, I can't even group up if I wanted to. But I see, like, even though my flag is not up, right? Like, my flag is not up, but I've had people message me, like, demanding I join a party, and then every now and then one of them will get upset when I'm like, no. But I mean, they can clearly see that, like in the search results, I'm not anonymous, like Ninja Beastmaster. I mean, you should be able to infer what I'm doing, right? Like, I'm soloing. I'm enjoying soloing. So I don't know. I can totally accept that there's some fault on me, but I think a lot of people just, I don't know, they invite people to parties and they have certain expectations, because I think maybe it's like, I think maybe it's a bit of an expectation because there's so many, well, I don't know, no other way to say it, just so many video game boomers, right? We're old in here. Like, there's so many people that have been playing Final Fantasy XI for so long that I think some people just assume that everyone is like that, right? That everyone has been playing this game for 20 years, and that everyone kind of goes about things the same way and wants the same thing. I feel like there's some of that assumption going on. So it can throw them for a loop when you have, like, a player who's, I mean, like me, I haven't really done that much of the content in this game. Even though I did play it at release, I really haven't played the game that much, not deeply anyway. I've seen Valkyrie Dunes dozens of times, but I've never really gotten deep into the game. So, you know, I'm as casual as it gets, right? Like, when I play a red mage, which I have red mage up to level 30, I was enjoying it until parties got a little too controlling, right? I think I'd like to do red mage for burning circle fights. If I can ever get into BCNMs, I feel like red mage would be fun to take into that. But for normal parties, I don't really know that I'd want to do red mage, because it seems like most parties want the red mage to just sit and heal. Like, sit down and cast cure when you're not sitting down, and then return to sitting down. So basically they want a bargain bin white mage. At least that's my experience. Like, most parties I've gotten into, they really, like, it's weird, because even if there is a primary healer, they just want you to be, like, an extra healer, like a backup plan, right? or to kind of keep things moving, I guess, but that's not really fun. I guess the way to look at it would be, if I wanted to play a class that's only purpose is just to keep things moving, I'd play Bard. And I actually like Bard, because you're kind of always pushing buttons, right? But yeah, like Bard that would be the class to play to just keep up, you know, so there's no downtime, right? But like, I don't know, there's so much Red Mage can do. It feels not fun to just sit your ass down for 90% of the battle. That's not fun. Yeah, I guess, like, I can get, you know, I mean, there's not much, like, at level 30, there's not really much buffing to go around, but, I mean, throwing out a Paralyze and a Dia, basically. That's not a lot of MP. But yeah, like when I play Red Mage, no, I want to get in there, like I want to Thunder my weapon, I want to get in there and melee it out, I want to throw the occasional, like whenever there's a skill chain, I want to throw in a magic burst, right? It actually deals decent damage. Like, I want to get in there and mix it up and use all of my abilities. Like, I mean, for me at least, that's the fun of Red Mage, is that you have this huge toolbox that's just full of tools for so many situations, you know, there's so many things you can do, and it feels bad to not use it. So that's where I come at odds with a lot of parties when I play Red Mage, and it's why I kind of stopped. I stopped Red Mage at 30, and then I picked up Beastmaster, and I never looked back. I would like to eventually maybe do more with Red Mage, but I feel like the only way I'd really have fun with it is if I'm Red Mage / Beastmaster and I'm just soloing, right? Because then I can use all the tools in my kit and have fun with it. I guess that's kind of my main issue with how a lot of people, it's how they get controlling on other players. Is most classes in this game, not all of them, I mean a White Mage is pretty much just a cure bot, but like, most classes in the game, they have a lot of functions, they have lots of things they can do, you know? Oh look, we have a PT here. Well, there's no, like, there's no claim on anything. Like, there's no claim on anything, like... Why, yes, I also need Hold on, I also need experience points. So yeah. Like... It's also the enemies on the other side. Wait, are the enemies inside the tower the same level? I've actually only been in the tower once for my rank quest. Are they the same level? If they are, like, yeah, I'll totally do the tower, but... Like, I've never actually really looked around the tower very much, mostly because I don't know, it's a little too maze-like. God, the teleporters and shit. Well, it's true though, like, I also need experience points. And there's no, like, no one owns any enemies, like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, the way to treat a Beastmaster or someone subbing it is they're a party, right? And, I mean, parties compete for enemies in this game all the time. Like, you just look at it like another party that, yes, also needs the same mobs. Like, that's kind of that's always been the game. It's just, I think maybe the issue is there's I think there's actually another Beastmaster or two out here. I know I saw him a while ago, so I think maybe it's just that, yeah, there's a lot more Beastmasters around on this server, so there's more competition. Well, I mean, you know, like, I guess I tend to shoot back with Snark. That's my reflex action. But, it's just, well, yeah, I need EXP points too. I also need EXP points. Like, that's a true statement. I guess for me, see, here's the thing. For me, it kind of rubs me the wrong way when someone's like, hey, we're here. You don't own anything. No one does. This isn't, you know... like, unless the monster's name turns purple, it isn't claimed. And... that's kind of how the game always worked in my experience. Like even when it's party versus party, so to speak, yeah, like parties fight over the same enemies. Like, yeah. Yeah, so I think I think we just encountered a situation where both parties are like, fuck you, no, fuck you, buddy, no, like, I don't know, it is what it is, right? But I will check out the tower. I mean, look, they shot a friendly little thing, and like, hey, if the tower, if I can actually do it, like, you know, if there's no competition in the tower, I'll do it. Like, the main thing is I'm killing things on Kufum Island because that's where I need to kill. Like, I don't really know of anywhere else that I can kill things as easily and reliably, right? Okay, well, here we go. Ancient Bat, level 28. Like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take it. Wait, well, can I even charm that? And that's the thing, I'm not sure, like, what is or isn't charmable in here. It's a bat, so I'd assume I can charm it, but that's a mixed bag, I think. Okay, they are charmable. Alright. I think the main thing is with text, it's really hard to take context. Like, honestly, see, I guess here's the thing. With text, I mean, it's hard to really infer if someone's being rude or not, because it's more like how you say it, right? And for me, it's like, why, yes, I need EXP too. Like, to me, that's a very friendly statement too. Like... But in text, I guess that might not come across, right? But well, what they said also might not come across, so... I don't know. I will shoot back to say... I did not know about the tower enemies. Good tip. So there you go. I mean, they did give me a nice little gameplay tip there, because I didn't know about this, so... I now have more places I can kill things. I guess that's also just like, I don't know, I guess life experiences may vary. I think maybe also I have a much, like, higher threshold for what, like for me, I guess, like, I look at, you know, hey, we're killing here, like, that's like, to me, that is, you are asserting your dominance in the area, and like, well, you don't really have a leg to stand on, right? And for me, it's just like, well, yeah, I need EXP also, so it's like, that's me saying, I'm standing my ground, you know? I will not be bullied around. But again, I think all this just doesn't... These interactions are kind of weird online. That's... I think we can just say that. I might also be a little too used to over-defensive parties. Like, there are parties that, like, when there is literally nothing else that you can fight, they'll try to assert dominance, right? So I think I'm a little pre-programmed to kind of have the fuck you reflex, right? Yeah, I mean, true, yeah, like, what's stopping them from doing the same thing, actually? Because, well, the thing is, there's parties everywhere. So, I guess, okay, maybe this is like, so, I think this is maybe the context that's missing. So, there's a party, like, right outside the tower. They're kind of killing in the area that I was killing in. There's another party on the other side of the little cliff area, also killing on the other side. Like, I went past them earlier. So, no, like, there's parties everywhere, killing everywhere. There's no free zone. So, like, I mean, actually, the tower is the only place where there aren't people killing things. So, actually, that tip, I mean, if I was them, I'd take their own advice and just go in the tower, right? Because, like... But now, see, if a group shows up in the tower, like, no, look, there's nowhere to go, alright? I'm not moving. I think maybe that's the context that was missing there. Because, yeah, there was a party on the other side, and I was already not killing on the other side of the cliff, because I didn't want to, you know, like, it's two reasons. One, the enemies are a little tougher over there, but also, yeah, like, they're actively pulling from it. And there's not that many enemies to go around over there, so yeah. But I think a main thing here is that I'm not super familiar with this game. This maybe goes back to the whole assumptions thing. Like, I'm really not that familiar with the various zones in the game because, again, I've only ever gotten up to level 55. I've never done any of the missions beyond rank 3. Like, there's a lot of the game that I just have not seen. I actually went to Ordell's Caves for the very first time on this server. Like, I never knew that zone even existed, and it was so great for soloing as a Beastmaster. Like, oh my god, I soloed there, like, all the way to level 25. It was great. So yeah, like, the thing is I'm going to the places where I know I can kill things reliably, right? But, like, if I don't budge, it's because I literally don't know where else to go. So, you know, hey, look, that tip about the tower, I took it, right? I didn't, you know, like, I think being an asshole would have been specifically targeting enemies that they're going after, right? But, like, no, okay, I took their advice. I'm like, you know, there's no competition in here. The only question is, well, okay, there is some competition in here. There is, yeah, there's, so, like, yeah, there's people everywhere. It's a populated server. The main thing is if I'll be able to like, reliably solo. Like, the problem is that if the enemies are a little too tough, or there's too many of them, then I'll have to go back outside. Because I figure, I mean, there has to be a reason that parties aren't in here, like, other than these two dudes standing next to me, right? Like, there has to be a reason why full parties aren't in here. Oh yeah, I just noticed they're both ninjas. I mean, they are fighting, but... Yeah, I guess maybe they're just leveling up their skills. Huh. Ah, okay, so... Yeah, I mean, I have noticed that, like, there's a lot of places you can go in this game, and, like, a lot of them I've never been to just because, well, no one ever did it, right? I think people generally take the path of least resistance in this game. Like, you know, they go with what they know and what they know works, and they don't really push the boundaries and experiment beyond that, and I'm guilty of that too, right? It's the whole reason I was killing in that area in Kufum. It's like I don't know where else to go, right? Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like so I don't know. On the whole, I mean, I don't really care too much. Again, when I say I'm a casual player, like, it literally means I don't care. Like, I don't care that much, right? I just don't care as much. But I'm having fun, right? I'm having fun, but I'm not as invested. But I'd say, like, I was trying to avoid the enemies that people were actively going for, but there were like 2 or 3 parties out there, and there's not enough, there's gonna be competition for mobs. It's why my EXP slowed down, is because I kept struggling to find enemies to fight, so sometimes you can't just move. But, hey, look, if there's a solution that works out for everyone, I'm open to it. And they did tell me about the tower, so that worked out. But I think that first, just go kind of thing, oh god, it reminded me of something. It reminded me of something from Korean, like those really grindy Korean MMOs, which I have played. I have played a plenty of them. Ooh, I have actually never been to the maze. I literally don't even know where that is. See, that's what I mean. Like, I literally don't even know what zone you're talking about. But, okay, anybody who's ever played, like, grindy Korean MMOs, they tend to be infested with, like, gold farmers and all that. Oh look, put your flag up. Never! But in grindy Korean MMOs, you know how you'd get, like, the gold farmers, they would, like, kind of dominate an area, and they'd be killing everything in the area just to grind gold. And if you approach that area, like, even approach it, they would just, like, harass you constantly, like, you go now! You go now! Like, you know what if you played Korean MMOs years ago, you know what I'm talking about. I am a Pokemon master, sir. I gotta catch them all. Look, I love being a Beastmaster, okay? I love being a Beastmaster. So, Tarongi Canyon. Hold up. I think I know where Tarongi Canyon is? Hold up. I think I know where that is. That's in Kolshushu, right? Okay, so it's... Okay, I've been to this zone. I know this zone. I know this one. Okay, so it's like an offshoot. So I'd assume it's either to the left or the right. Like, I'm looking at the map, and I'm assuming it either shoots off from the left or the right. I mean, I'll check that out later. Like, I'll check it out later. For now, I'm just gonna kind of stick to what I'm doing. If I can kill things in the tower. Okay, so it's the... Alright, yeah, I'll check that out later, definitely. Also, God, I told my bat to rest, and it didn't rest. But, yeah, I don't know. So, like, I guess for me, I maybe have some bad experiences with other MMOs. I don't know if anybody's ever had that. Like, I feel like if you've played those grindy Korean games, you've had that experience with the you go now, right? And whenever I encounter a party in this game that's like, literally for me, in my head, all I hear is I hear someone screaming at me in a Chinese accent to, you go now! You go now! Like that's all I hear, right? And it just sort of makes me want to fight back. God, Lineage 2 was a trip. Because see, they would in that game they would not only scream at you to "you go now," but they would also kill you too. They would have their gank squad just murder you endlessly, like until you would leave. Oh, Black Desert. I did play Black Desert for a while. Also, oh, I see. I see how it is, DSX. But yeah, I liked Black Desert Online until I hit level 50. Then I liked the game a lot less. And anyone who's played the game, I mean, you know why that is. Or I think it was level 50. I think level 50 was when, like, that's when the game both slows down to the worst kind of grind, and also it's when the game, like, if you go higher level, you kind of have to open yourself up to PvP. So the game gets a lot, it gets a lot less fun in a lot of ways real fast. But it was real fun up until then. I liked having my little goblin trade routes. Had a little boat on one of the fishing villages. It was nice. It was nice. Okay, so these giants aren't, they're not too bad. The only thing I worry about is I guess what I worry about fighting giants is that I can't, like, if my pet dies, I won't have a pet to replace it. You know, it's a little different than when you fight animals. So there's some seeker bats here, and that's nice, but if I go up against these guys, it's not, that's probably not going to work out for me, so I'll kill the seeker bats. So I am seeing a bit of a flaw with the tower here. I'm seeing a flaw with it. Like, I think if I was just, like, if I wasn't kind of, you know, if I wasn't backing up on my Beastmaster skills, this might work, and if I was a little higher level. But, yeah, there's not really enough animals to charm here. And if I get stuck in a fight without a pet, that's not gonna go well for me. So, unfortunately, Kufum Island does kind of seem to be like, it seems to be the ideal place. Because that is something you have to think about, is that wherever I go to do my thing, I need, like, ready access to animals that I can charm. Which I would assume the maze is mostly like beastmen, right? That sounds like a beastmen thing. And that would be the same issue as here in the tower, that, you know, you need animals to charm. I don't have my jug pet. So, okay, there was those two ninjas over there, and they're just doing their thing. But, I don't know, the tower is large. Okay, this is nice. It's nice and open. There's animals to charm, and the giants aren't... Yeah, they're not too high level, so this is... I'd say this is maybe ideal right here. This'll be my farm spot. Or my EXP spot. Oh, okay. Yeah, again, I'll have to check out these other areas. Oh, Baburamu! I always forget about that place. I've only been to Baburamu, like, a very few times. Very few times. Or wait, am I thinking about, there's like an area that shoots off of that. Bibiki Bay, I think? I went there a few times to EXP on the Eden server, but that was it. Like, that was the only time I ever went there. But I guess Baburamu, that's just that's just kind of the general area, which no one ever uses that zone. Like, I never see anyone in it, which is weird because I mean, it's basically the same thing as Valkurm Dunes, right? Like, it's literally like a mirror image of the place, just, you know, different layout, slightly different enemies, but it's mostly the same thing. I've never seen anyone really use it for EXPing. I've been there a few times leveling up Beastmaster, and I see other Beastmasters there, but I've never seen, like, full parties there. Which I guess would be good for me, right? God, I love the way giants animate. I don't know, they just feel like they have so much weight to them. In a way that, like, in 14... I don't know, in 14 they don't feel like they have any sort of actual impact to them. So yeah, the EXPing here is not quite as fast as I would like, but it's fine. It's more than acceptable. I mean, look, the bar is moving. It's fine. But yeah, I will admit, I myself, I get stuck in the veterans trap, right? Where, you know, there's places I know, right? Because in the various attempts I've made at playing FF11, like, yeah, I've been through Valkurm Dunes. Like, you know, you go through the newbie areas, you work your way to Valkurm Dunes, because that's just what everyone does, in never knowing that Baburamu even exists. Which I never even knew. That has its own sub-job quest. I never knew about that. But, you know, you do that, and then generally you go from there to Kufum Island, and then I'm trying to think where I go after that. Like, there's the Crawler's Nest. I know that area kinda okay. There's the jungle. I think around the 40s, low 50s, you go out to the desert. But, like, that, you know, that's what I know, right? And I don't really stray from that very much. But I still stand by it. Like no, if someone tells me to move, I will not. Unless there is actually another viable option. Like, of course, if there's a viable option, I would much rather, like, I mean, I would much rather have free reign over the enemies so that I can just kill whatever I want, and it makes things go faster, right? So I would like that. But if I don't see another viable option, like, no, man. No, we're doing this. We're soft PvPing right now. Which I will say, like look, I've seen this more than I've engaged in it. I generally don't like to piss people off, so I don't generally, if there is a good solution, I take it. But I've seen lots of, I guess, soft PvP in Final Fantasy XI. Like, I've been in parties where an enemy party leader comes along and wants to lay dominance, and then my party leader will be like, no, fuck off, we're taking this, and then it gets into a whole escalating thing, right? I've seen that play out so many times. And for me, I mean, it's only really kind of exhausting. But yeah, I guess this is sort of the problem with having a very, like, everything for the most part takes place in the open world, right? Like, yeah, you do have burning circle fights. I guess technically those are instances, right? But you don't EXP off of those. Like there really isn't, yeah, there really isn't any like instanced EXP areas, right? Like I don't, the Primivians aren't instanced, right? I'm honestly not sure. I honestly don't know if the Primivians are an instance or not. I've never seen anyone just wandering around in there. But as far as I know, there's no real just instanced place to EXP. So for the most part, if you want to fight things, you kind of have to do it out in the open world, and there is a very finite amount of enemies to go around. I mean, so finite that, like, you can't, like, if there's more than one party, it can slow things down. So, you know, competition is just part of it. Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that the Primivians were open. I always I kinda just assumed they were an instance because the few times that I have popped into them, there has been no one else there. Like, no one. So I just assumed that I was alone in there. Huh, well, I learn new things every day. Oh, I do know about the money. I mean, I went into Primivian Hala for a very brief amount of time because I just wanted to take a look at it and, you know, check it out, see what's going on in there. And I killed a few things, and I got like one drop that it would just sell for 7k. But then I gave it to an NPC, and then the item he made, which it cost 2 more k, but it sold for like 11k. And then I realized that I could just buy the items and give it to the NPC, and that's basically a money printer right there. Or that I think chat realized that, right? But then the cogs turned in my brain, and I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea. Although I already have money printers. I mean, that's just fishing, right? Fishing is basically a money printer if you think about it. So, okay, I guess then the only thing that is really instanced is the burning circle fights, right? Like, those are an instance, as I understand it. And I still haven't done them. The only burning circle fight that I've done so far has been the rank 3, the rank 3 mission. That's it. Wait a second, I just thought, hold up. Man, I just had a light bulb moment. Although no, it wouldn't work for me. You need a jug pet in there, right? Because you can't charm the empty things, I don't think. If I could, then that would be great. Like, I'd just go there right now, but yeah, I think you need a jug pet in there. And my Beastmaster is level 52, so it's way past the point where I'd get anything for it. I feel like something could be done to make the Primivians a little more attractive for repeat customers, you know? Because I am really having a hard time, like, even in the Link Shell, where they generally help me out for stuff like that. I'm having a real hard time getting, like... So, okay, it's not that I don't get anything. I do get offers to do the Primivians. The problem is they all want to do it at, like, what for me would be, like, 3 in the morning, and I can't do that. I just can't. So, it's not that I get no offers, it's just they're all really, they're at times I can't do. Well, I'm in Germany, so, I'm, I'm 6 hours ahead of the US East Coast. And I guess I'm like 9 hours ahead of the West Coast on the US, right? So, yeah, that's why, like, you know, for what's good time for them is like 3 in the morning for me. I might have to. I might have to look into some EU link shells. Like, I only joined this one because they offered, right? They just threw me a pearl, and I joined because, you know, I didn't have any connections in the game when I joined. But the people in this link shell are, for the most part, Americans, and the times don't line up very good. So yeah, I need a shell that kind of is on a bit better of a wavelength for me, you know, things match up a little better. So that might actually be that might be a large part of my problem. It's not just that I'm a lovable asshole. It's really that, no, like, people offer and it's just bad timing. There's my ancient bats. Okay, I'm gonna try to fight a giant first. So giant first, if the pets die, then I go and grab an ancient bat. But I still feel like, even when I get offers, it's pretty rare, and like, okay, there's a lot of people that want to try and organize a Primivian group, right? There's a lot of people that want to make it happen. I might want to pull that back. But like, actually getting 6 players that can play at the same time to do the content it's so goddamn hard. I do feel like maybe, and not just for the Primivians, but I feel like for a lot of the content that you need to do to unlock things, that maybe there should be some, like, you know, hey, if Horizon is spicing up the content, add some kind of additional reward for either, like, maybe completing something a second time gives you a new reward, or maybe just a first-time completion thing. Like, if someone hasn't done it, then, okay, everybody gets a big reward, right? Something. I feel like there needs to be something to incentivize people to do content that they've already done, and they're not going to get anything. Like, you know, you're not going to get any money or EXP or any, like, you don't get anything for doing, like, for helping someone else do the Primivians, right? There's no real reward in that, other than feeling good in helping your fellow man. But I don't think that's quite enough. Yeah, I mean, again, like, if I had, like, look, if I had a good friend that played this game, and they came up to me, and they wanted my help to do whatever, even if it's stupid and it's gonna get me killed, I'd do it, right? Camaraderie, fuck yeah. But the problem is there's very, very few people I can say that about, and I think that for how many people need this content, I don't know, I think there needs to be, just for the average player, a little more incentive thrown in there. You know, the pot needs to be sweetened just a little bit. But I like, that is the idea. That's always been the idea in FF11, is, you know, you help them, so they help you, and we all help each other. Oh, we're, you know, one big happy family, right? Also, I thought my bats went rogue, but it was different bats. But I would say think about this. Think about Final Fantasy XIV, right? I've played a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, okay? And in FF14, because you literally have to do the main story quest, like to even do anything, there's a lot of dungeons and trial fights along the way. And if there was no incentive, like if you got nothing for doing this content a second time, it would be dead. There would, like, literally, there would be no way to complete the content except robots, right? But in FF14, they have, like, you know, they have daily roulettes, weeklies, you know, they have all of these sort of incentives so that people do content they don't really want to do. And you can say what you want about that. I don't think that's necessarily healthy, but it does achieve the effect of getting people to help others do content. You know, it pushes people through the dungeons and stuff. So I think maybe introducing something kind of like that to this game, I don't know, I think that would be a way to get people volunteering to help others that they don't have a personal connection with, you know, selfishly, but still, you know, it would get content done. Again, I wish I had a buddy that, you know, I was that tight with, but, yeah, that's a rare thing. And the problem is, you need a party of 6, you need a full party of buddies. I think that's really the problem, right? Like, I think duoing or trioing, that's actually a lot easier for me. Like, I'm pretty sure I could duo or trio some of the BCNM fights, right? I can help someone out. I actually duoed the rank 3 mission with one of the Link Shell people. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty rad. But like getting a full party of buddies, that is not nearly as easy as like having 1 or 2 people that you like and party with. That is such a phenomena. I know what you're talking about. Like, it is, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it, but it's so true. Like, there's a lot of people that will help out on things, but they'll only do it if there's basically already a party formed and, like, you know, essentially, if most of the heavy lifting is already done, then they'll offer to help. But they won't offer to help before that. So then the party never gets off the ground. But that is, like, I know that type of player. And I kind of, like, I mean, it's good that they want to help out, but it's, you know, the problem is that they only ever even speak up if the party is almost already good to go. It makes getting a group off the ground so difficult. Also, I'm gonna maybe back off, just back off the fight a little bit. I'm taking a lot of damage. Okay, We've got betrayal. Yeah, that was bad timing, but that's what I was saving my weapon skill for. Man, paralysis. And how's my EXP going? I mean, now that I've kind of settled into a bit of a routine cycling through giants and bats, it's not going terribly slow. It's fine. It's more than acceptable. I think it would still probably be, like, it would be easier to just go outside and kill crabs and pugils and stuff. That would, like, it would be easier and a little bit faster, but then again, it would not be easier and faster. There were already 2 groups out there. If there's even more groups out there now as the day is kind of going on, yeah, like, you get into very diminishing returns territory, so I think maybe my best bet is to stay in the tower here. Because no one wants to fight me over mobs in the tower. Not yet, anyway. But also, a quick aside on the kind of soft PvP and competition in this game. Just on my own time, like, I have 2 of the Tabar axes that you get from Trickster outside of the tower. It's like, he is literally the only named monster that I've ever camped on this server. And it's just because he's a relatively fast spawner. Like, he pretty much spawns every hour. And the drop rate on the axe is pretty good, actually. So, you know, I'm willing to do that, right? And it's a Beastmaster only axe. Like, the thing is, it's not even worth that much money. It's only worth like 8k. It's not even worth it to farm it for money. You'll get more out of killing banshees and thunder, you know, the lightning elementals. But I got into one of those moments where I was camping the thing, you know, killing the placeholders, and then some other dude comes along. I think he was a dragoon. I think, not sure, can't remember. Didn't care enough. But he comes along and like, he doesn't kill anything, right? He doesn't do anything. He's just kind of sitting around. Well, so the thing is that I'm running around, like, not just killing the placeholders, but every now and then branching off to kill some of the banshees and elementals, because they're just right there, right? Well, I come back once, and oh, hey, Trickster spawned, and he grabs it. He did nothing but just grab that name monster, right? And you can believe the salt. The salt was spewing from me. I didn't say anything, I didn't do anything, but it's like, man, I missed the boat on that one. So, okay, I give it another hour, right? You know, I'm killing placeholders. The guy goes away, and I'm killing placeholders, doing my thing. There is literally no one around. Like, this is off hours, no one is around. So, okay, hey, elementals pop in. I'll go kill an elemental and come back and continue killing placeholders. The guy came back, and there's Trickster, and he claimed it again. Like, he literally left the area, but he came back just for that. I guess he had it on a timer or something, I don't know. But, like, I have not felt such gamer rage in so long. But, like, that's the game, right? That's the game. I mean, hell, even if I had been standing right there waiting to get the thing, you know, it's first come, first serve, right? Whoever's faster. But it still makes me angry. Now, see, that was just a trash mob, right? Like, that was a trash mob that it didn't even have loot worth anything. Like, it's not something you should even really bother camping. I just did, 'cause why the hell not? But imagine if that was like a real spawn. Like, I don't know. What's the one that people really ruin their lives over? Leaping Lizzie, right? That's one that people just destroy themselves to camp it for hours and hours and hours. Like, imagine if it had been something like that. I don't... I honestly don't really get how some people do it. How do you do it? How do you live with yourself? Because in the link shell that I'm in, I've like some of these people. Oh, I didn't even realize that was just a pet. But yeah, some of these people, like, they camp Leaping Lizzie and stuff like it, and they camp for literally 24 hours. Like, only getting up for, I assume, poop breaks, right? Or maybe they have an elite gaming chair with built-in toilet seat. I don't know. But yeah, like, there's some people that they will camp 24 hours a day for, like, a whole day, or sometimes even 2 days, and I don't get it. And Vexus, yeah, like, just say no. It's... Like, I've been there, and they're not good. Like, you can get a good solid grind in a game like this, but it's not as bullshit as a Korean MMO, you know? Like, you can get the fix without the addiction. Yeah, I mean, in the past, like, in the far distant past, I used to be that. Like, when I was in high school playing this game. Man, this game is like 20 years old. Whew. But yeah, like, back then, I remember a time when I tried to camp Leaping Lizzie. I remember camping some of these high-stakes mobs, and, you know, not high level, just really long-ass respawn time, and highly contested, and low drop chance. I remember doing that in the past, and I hated it, but I did it back then. Nowadays, I hate it, and I don't have the constitution for it anymore. Like, even if I wanted to, I can't do it. I just can't. Huh. Well, I guess there are spawn windows, right? But they are, I mean, there are factors that affect the spawn windows. Like, my understanding is that, like, okay, there's a certain amount of time before something can respawn, but I mean, aren't there things that can make it take a little longer or a little shorter? I think there's a little variation to it, I think. And huh. Ah, okay, I didn't know. I thought, yeah, I guess I thought there was, like, some variation to it. So I guess, like, if a mob spawns every 6 hours, I guess you don't have, like, as long, well, I guess the catch is you kind of have to know when the mob last spawned. If you don't know when it last spawned, then, I mean, you have no frame of reference, so it could happen at any moment, right? But if you know precisely when it last spawned, then yeah, I guess you could theoretically just log out and log back in when, you know, when the timer is up, right? I guess. I didn't think about it like that. I kind of figured, I guess, look, this is me being a little pessimistic, I guess. I just figured that if you asked people that are camping, like, when's the last time it spawned, I mean, I thought they'd just kind of, like, I mean, wouldn't it be in their best interest to fuck with you? Like, to say, oh no, man, it just spawned, you just missed it. Sorry. Gonna be another 6 hours, you better just go now. You better just leave right now. Get the fuck out of here. Like that's what I would assume, right? I would assume. But I guess maybe people are a little more friendly than that. I guess. I don't know. I feel like you need a certain level of trust. You need a certain level of faith in your fellow player, and I'm not sure. Like I think gaming, you know, gaming for so long, I think it's broken me of that. I don't trust players for anything. Like I assume that if players can screw over others and also themselves, I assume they'll just do it. You know, again, it might be, you know, as I'm getting older, I've become so jaded, right? It might be that, it might just be that. I mean, see, this is why I need to level up. I need to level up Thief so that, you know, I can just be like, look, I'm clearly not trustworthy. I'm a scandalous thief, right? That kind of reminds me in God, in World of Warcraft, there's like there's like a rogue certificate or something that you get at some point as a rogue, and it basically it's just this little item that you can examine, and it certifies that you are untrustworthy and villainous, that you're scum, basically. Like there's my credentials. Also, goddamn, there's been like 3 jets going overhead, like 3 like military jets going overhead in just the last like in the last hour or last hour or so. I don't think that comes through because like that should be enough background noise that it doesn't get picked up, but like, hope things aren't heating up again. Hope. Is that? Yeah, another one. Oh. Again, until I hear the until I hear the air raid sirens, I'm assuming it's fine. Though the worst is when they do a test on the air raid siren while this shit's going on. Like, man, nobody needs that. Oh, there's no more. Did I kill everything? Might have. There is one lone giant here. One lone giant. Oh, we're getting respawns. That could go badly for me. That could go bad. I guess I'll keep an eye on it. Like the bats, I mean, I can tame those, but I guess keep an eye out that any giants don't spawn in. But anyway, I guess, yeah, I don't know, for community in games, I tend to be a little pessimistic on it, but it's because over the years I have experienced so many just, you know, shitty players, shitty communities. It's been an endless waterfall, and yeah, I tend to just assume the worst, right? Now, to be honest, I have been pleasantly surprised more often than not playing Final Fantasy XI on Horizon. Yeah, I still have bad experiences, but I think for the most part, like, oh no, I've had a lot of great ones too. A lot of really good experiences with people. And in some of the other private servers I've played for other games too. Like City of Heroes has a really good community. Like, people are just awesome there. sometimes quote-unquote problematic, if you will. But no, good people there too, right? There's nice little isolated pockets of like good gaming communities around. They exist, but it's just, man, a lot of bad. Also, bad timing on my charm, just failing me, completely failing me. There we go. Alright, we're back on track. I've had the wonderful fortune of, in the past, like, I've had my charm fail like 5 times in a row once. Like failing 5 times in a row on a decent challenge enemy. It's happened to me in the past. And that would be like as a Beastmaster with, you know, decent charisma. All the people talking about selling moat carp. I've never done the moat carp grind. Oh, you need those for Liu Shang's, right? At some point I'll have to do that grind. Which I refuse to pay for it. I am not paying for that rod. I'm not paying for the fish. I'm gonna do that on my, like, I am gonna fish up all that moat carp on my own just because I want to. Like, I want the challenge, right? Oh yeah, Mithra have really low charisma, right? That always felt very strange to me. Like, you would think Mithra would be high charisma, right? Because anime, but no, like, I think they are the lowest, right? I think generally most of the races in the game have just a standard charisma. I think Taru are the ones with high charisma, right? I think. But yeah, back in the day in retail, so okay, look. In retail, back in like 2000 whatever the fuck, I did play a Mithra because of course I did, right? Come on. And I went Mithra Bard. Because, you know, I generally like bards in RPGs. Bards are they tend to sort of be the embodiment of fun to me, right? Like, whether it's D&D or EverQuest or whatever, I don't know, the idea of a bard is just very fun, right? But yeah, Mithra Bard was not a fun time. I remember back in the day. Like, back in the day, I remember parties just being up my ass about not having certain items, or that, like, oh no, that's a Mithra Bard, don't invite them. You know, their charisma's just too low. So I think those early experiences, that kind of, yeah, that sort of helped to put this chip on my shoulder about, you know, controlling parties. I will admit, I think I got a little jaded to that very early on in Final Fantasy XI. I mean, the good thing is that when, you know, like, once you hit level 23, I mean, you'll never charm ever again. You know, that's the good thing, right? Also, hey there, Cabraxis. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with Mithra Bard. I don't, but like, here's the thing. In my many years of playing on private servers, off and on, Like, I've run into Taru warriors, Galka white mages and black mage, even Galka summoners. Like I've run into all kinds of weird ass combos, and for the most part, as long as they're prepared to commit to it, it works, right? Like, maybe not ideal, but it works. So I don't doubt that Mithrabard is fine. It's just I remember back in the day, I remember parties just having a stick up their ass about the stats of a Mithrabard. Like, it was reason enough to not get invited to a party. I guess, like, when yeah, like, the moment that I hit level 23 as a Beastmaster, I never looked back. That rabbit pet with its whirl claws, like, Jesus. It just demolishes. Like, so, like, when I hit level 23 as a Beastmaster and I started using the Jug Pet, I quickly realized that I could round up, like, 5 easy enemies at the same time, and Whirl Claws would kill all of them. And once I had that, like, revelation, the game changed for me. But yeah, also, like, yeah, the Jug Pets, like, especially the rabbit is easy. The high quality rabbit, that's relatively easy to craft still. You just need to have a high enough skill. But yeah, I think back in the day, so like back in the day there was so much voodoo around this game, and I think there still kind of is. Like, there's still people that think you have to face a certain direction when you're crafting, or certain things matter when they don't. And, like, on Horizon, they've even confirmed that, like, no, we didn't code that. That doesn't happen. But back in the day, it was crazy. Like, no one knew anything, but also everyone knew everything. So if you weren't playing a certain way, you would get a lot of shit. That's what I remember. I think moon phase does matter for certain things, but like the whole directional thing, that was just nonsense. But it was very popular nonsense. I think honestly that's why a lot of people still maintain the weird rituals about this game. It's because they did it back in the day, and it just got ingrained into their reflexes, and they can't not do it. So they just keep on keeping on. Yeah, I love that though. It's like this weird urban legend kind of thing, but with an MMO, right? Like if you tell people to do these weird like rituals, then oh, this'll happen, and because like there's either just not enough information at all, or there's conflicting information, and then there's people that just do these things out of habit. Yeah, like you're more willing to say, okay, sure, okay, I'll do it. I guess, and then it kind of perpetuates itself, right? It's great. But look, to me, that is one of the things that I always liked about this game. Like, I've never been a power player, I've never seen endgame, I've never been over level 55, because the limit break quests are hard, right? But, I have played the game off and on over the years, and I'd say since most of my experience is in the lower levels, is. A lot of my experiences with all of these strange things people believe and weird habits they develop. I kind of, I don't know, for me, it adds to the charm. It creates an air of mysticism where you're never quite sure exactly what is or isn't real. And I like that. I think some people would prefer to have everything nice and neat on a spreadsheet, but I like the mysticism. I like it. Yeah, like, oh god, I'm not sure if it was for FF11 or maybe, like, EverQuest had a lot of stuff like that too, you know, when you get into, like, real ancient gaming, ancient MMO gaming, right? I remember EQ had lots of weird stuff like that too, just because everything was really badly documented. And, like, you could convince people that, I don't know, if they... Yeah, like if they took their shirt off or whatever and spun their character around in a circle and do all this weird stuff, then oh, that'll cause this specific item to drop. It'll be great. Huh. Huh. Well, I've never seen something like that. I mean, every now and then this game just does strange things, which is awesome. But yeah, it helps to play into the idea that anything can happen. But I don't know. I just love those little quirks. They're a huge part of the fun to me. Yeah, I mean, when servers are crashing, like, you know, things get strange. All right, it can get strange. But I do feel like that's something you don't really get with more modern games, like whether they're MMOs or not. I don't think you really get that anymore. I mean, nowadays everything is pretty much broken down, put in a spreadsheet, and fully documented with YouTube walkthroughs, like before the game even comes out. So you don't really get these sort of weird rituals and ideas. You don't get that much anymore. Also, I don't know why. I was kind of just reflexively going into my pet commands, but I don't have pet commands as a ninja beastmaster. I don't have that. That's not for me. I think the giant's pet is gonna kill mine. Oh, my bats are being intimidated by its bats. That's what's happening here. I guess maybe I should have, yeah, like, it does damage. I maybe should have told my pet to kill it first, or I should have killed it first. Well, that's my bad. I'm gonna be lazy, and I'm not gonna tell my pet to rest. Yeah, I'm just gonna get my pet killed. I mean, this is what I used to do all the time. Just make the pet fight to the death and then replace it, right? I only realized that the stay command heals the pet. I realized that just playing this game on this server. It took me that long to realize what the stay command does. Also, I get what you mean, even though I have never touched League, but I get what you mean. I haven't gotten too, like, the only time I tend to use the familiar command, yeah, the only time I've really used it is, well, for the rank 3-1, or, it's 2-3, right? For the rank 2-3 fight, I used familiar for that. Like, I use it for hard fights, right? But I've never actually used familiar just, like, out in the world while I'm EXPing or something. I've never done that. I probably should. I mean, it doesn't cost anything, you know, it doesn't, no reason not to, I guess. Oh, we're almost level 34. I do have EXP boosters. Okay, so like my original plan, I'm at 8 out of 10 with my EXP bands. My original plan was to just, like, I don't need Ninja to be level 37 right now, right? My goal is to get it there so that I can just sell off all the gear and never touch Ninja ever again. But it's not something I have to do right now. So I was planning to just, like, you know, pop my EXP rings and just burn through those and get as much EXP as I can. And then when I run out of EXP ring, just stop leveling Ninja and, you know, wait till next week and then finish leveling it up, right? That was kind of my plan, but then I just sort of forgot to use the ring again, and I'm almost level 34 now, so it's working out. Oh my god. I didn't even think about that. But then, wait, then again, there is a bit of a problem with that, right? Like, the problem with that would be, you get less EXP. Like, I know that if the Beastmaster pet is higher level, that cuts into your EXP like you were teamed up with someone higher level. But I guess for, I don't know, I mean, there's some, like, BCNM fights that you can charm the enemy in, right? That would work out really good for that. I mean, yeah, true. I guess, like, if you had a, yeah, if you had a very tough, yeah, like, if you had, like, a real tough pet and it was stuck with you for 30 whole minutes, then, yeah, I guess, yeah, that would work out pretty well. That would probably even out. Wait, there's not? I guess I didn't look too hard into it, but I figured it would have the same penalties as everywhere else, but if they don't, man, that would be awesomely broken. Which I do feel like Beastmaster is maybe probably gonna get a little bit of the nerf stick, right? But I hope not too hard, because honestly, Beastmaster is in such a good place on this server. Like, I mean, Beastmaster, it's always been the class for people that like to solo, and they've made it actually really good at it. So, you know, that's where it should be, right? Yeah, like, for me, Beastmaster on this server, like, it feels the best that it has ever felt, and I don't feel brokenly overpowered. I do feel maybe a little overpowered, but I think it's only certain instances. Like, certain instances in very specific situations, Beastmaster is maybe brokenly overpowered. I don't think they need an across-the-board nerf or anything. I just sort of worry that it's gonna happen anyway. Oh, wait, it was even more overpowered? Like, I haven't been playing on Horizon that long. Like, for me, Beastmaster is in, like, the best place I've ever seen it in, anywhere. It's kind of hard to imagine how it could have been even more powerful. Oh, wow. Like, see, the thing is, the reason why I already worry about it getting nerfed is I keep hearing people where it's like they're, you know, they're soloing burning circle fights as a Beastmaster, right? And it's like, that's probably gonna get them nerfed, right? I don't think you're supposed to do that. Yeah, actually, that's kind of how I look at it. Again, I'm not antisocial. I will admit I can be. Look, I can be a little bit on the dramatic side with parties. I will admit, right? But I don't you know, I don't try to asshole move people or anything, and I do like to team up. And I like to help people too. If somebody asks for help, I'm down to help them, even if I am 99% sure it's gonna get me killed, right? But yeah, like I like having the option to just log into the game and play the game, right? Like, I just want to log in and get some EXP, maybe do some quests, and I want to make progress without a full party of 6 players, right? That's all I want. And I think having Beastmaster really, like, it allows you to do that, and I appreciate that. But most, like most private servers that I've played on, I've played on Nozomi and I've played on Eden, and they both let you dual box. And on both servers, I really didn't like what dual boxing does to the overall game. Like, basically every single party that I would join on Nozomi or Eden, like every party had a pet white mage, you know, just cure botting the parties. So basically every party was a power level party, right? It just, I don't know, it like having everyone with the option to dual box, it did bad things to the team dynamics. I don't, like, in a way that I don't think having a lot of players that enjoy soloing, just doing their own thing, I think that hurts things a whole lot less than having every party with a white mage bot, right? That's out of the party just healing. Sometimes multiples of them. I think that hurts the game a lot more. Ah, I see. Okay, so the... So the pets had even higher damage. And then 30... Yeah, I think the cooldown is like 45 seconds or something like that now, right? Which I already feel like that is more than good. But 30 seconds, Oh, nice. And I didn't know what Bestial Loyalty did, but yeah, yeah, okay, so like that all sounds kind of, yeah, that, okay, so they've already been nerfed pretty good. I mean, honestly, it's all, like, right now it's in such a good place. All the other stuff, I don't think Beastmaster would need that. But I don't know, like, my overall thought is that I know that there's some people, especially in this link shell that I'm in, that they do not like Beastmasters very much. They don't like players going out and doing their own thing. But the truth is that, like, even on retail back in the day, like, there were always people playing Beastmaster. There were always people that, for one reason or another, didn't want to group up all the time. Like, that's nothing new, right? It's, maybe there's more of them now, but I think if anything, that really speaks more to just how players have changed, right? Like, we're old men now. You know, we have things to do. We can't always sit and wait 3 hours for a party and then, you know, grind for another 3 hours, right? We can't always do that, so, you know, we like to have options now. Like, I think if anything, that's why there's more Beastmasters now. Like, I don't think it's necessarily just any changes that Horizon has made, although they have made good changes. I like them. It's definitely more fun to play a Beastmaster or even a slash Beastmaster on this server than on any of the other ones I've tried. Oh, I'm getting too much aggro here. There we go. Got my shadows back on. I hate that goddamn rock throw. But yeah, I don't know. I think for everyone that hates on Beastmaster, it's a little misplaced. I just see a lot of Beastmaster hate on this server, but they're really not to blame. And some people just have always liked Beastmaster. I've always liked Beastmaster. Right? But really, do you want the alternative, which, to be honest, if people can't do anything on their own, they're just not gonna play. It's the reason why every other server I've seen, they let people multi-box, so that they can just make their own party, basically. You know, it's an inconvenience, but they let you do it, right? And that's, yeah, to me that is so much more out of the spirit of things. Just because then it really changes the dynamic of normal parties. And I guess maybe it's calmed down now? I don't know. Again, I only started playing on Horizon not very long ago. I'm not sure exactly. I honestly am not sure when I started. More than a month or two. I guess like maybe 2 months, maybe-ish, somewhere around there. Maybe? Maybe less? I don't know. And yeah, I do get that, you know, people get annoyed when Beastmasters go for the same enemies that parties are going for, but, well, hey look, we ran into this earlier on in the stream, right? And you know my feelings on that. Everything's fair game. I would, of course, like to take, you know, I would like to take the better solution. That's why I'm in the tower now, where there's no competition. But like, let's say that, okay, there's groups everywhere. Everything is, you know, everything that I can fight is under some kind of competition. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it, right? Like, I am a party. I'm a party of one, but I'm still a party, and I need EXP, all the same. That said, like, yeah, now that I know that I can fight things in the tower, like, no, there is nobody in here. Like, there's no one in here. So I'd much rather do this. This is a lot more comfy. All right, getting my health up. Okay, 2 fights. 2 fights should level me up. I do level Beastmaster and Valkyrie. I only left Valkyrie Dunes because I out-leveled it. But generally there's, at least when I play, there's not that many people in Valkyrie Dunes. See, again, I want to say this, like, I am not super familiar with this game. Like, I literally I didn't know about that maze zone. I gotta check that out later. I never knew Ordell's Caves was a thing. Once I found that out, I went there to level up until I could go to the dunes. Like, I'm just, you know, I'm not a super knowledgeable player, so I go to the places I know I can kill things. Like, no malice in there. If people can point me to an equally viable area, you know, that's why I'm in the tower right now. But when I go to the dunes, generally there's not really that many people there. Like yesterday, I was killing things, like I was killing pugils and crabs along the beach, and there was no parties there. Like, no one was there, so... Like, I guess when I play, it's usually low population hours, so it doesn't really matter. But again, like okay, let's say the dunes is where the best EXP I can make is in the dunes, and let's say that anything I can kill, there are parties there. So if there's no other choices, then yeah, like, I mean, I'm gonna join in the competition. Not gonna be a dick about it, but like, you know, I'm just think of it as another party competing for the same mobs like any other, right? But if I have the choice, I would much rather not compete over mobs, right? Like, given the choice, I would much rather have a whole zone to myself, like here in the tower. That is much, much more preferable to me. I do think maybe, yeah, the EXP would be a little bit faster out on Kufum Island. Like, I would rather kill things out there. The thing is, though, is that right now there's like 3 parties around the tower, so... Or at least when I went in here, there were like 3 parties out there, so... I mean, the thing is, even if I wanted to fight them, which I totally would, don't get me wrong. The thing is, it would probably be slower, right? Like, it would be even slower than kind of fighting these enemies that are a little too tough for me in the tower, just because of all the competition. Yeah, again, like, if I, you know, if I don't have to compete, I'd rather not. It's just, if I don't personally know of any better option, then I'll go with what I'll go with what I see in front of me, right? Like, the thing is, I didn't even know the tower was an option, because I've literally only been in this tower one time in my life, and that was to do the rank 4 mission. Again, I am a super casual player. Like, I probably have not been to even half the zones in the original game, right? Like, that's how little I've really gone into this game. Even though I have, you know, I have played it a little at launch, right? I just haven't played it much. So for me, it's just that I don't really know better. And I do get that, oh, you could do a quick Google, but like, okay, so let me say this. The way that I tend to learn is by doing. And it's kind of the way I prefer to experience things. It's why, like, when I pick up a new game, I don't sit down and read the manual and, you know, really study how to play. No, I just boot it in and push buttons, and I fail a lot and I learn as I go, right? And that's just kind of how I play games, is I just do it on the fly, and that's how I enjoy it. So I would rather not research things. Like, if I don't have to, I'd rather not research, I'd rather not look anything up. I'll look things up as I have to, like when I want to do crafting, and I mean, how else are you gonna know how to craft, right? Okay, I'll go to the wiki, but like, I don't look things up in advance. I look things up only as I need to, and I try to feel the game out as I go. That's just how I play. So for me, getting that more organic experience of, like, being told, hey, we need these mobs, you know, like, let's fight over mobs, but then they say, oh, you know, you could go in the tower and it'd be way better, and it's like, okay, that sounds cool, I'll try that. Like, for me, that's just how I operate. Yeah, so like when I level up Beastmaster, I really don't care. I will, like, I just run around and kill whatever I see. Like, whatever's in front of me, I kill it. I'm a murder hobo. Again, this comes with, like, it comes with being a casual player, right? Like, I just run around and I kill things. I don't really generally pay much attention to who's around me. You know, if people have legitimate concerns and they're like, oh, we need these, and they can give me an option of somewhere else to go, then sure, I'll take that, right? But if I don't see any better option, like, I'll just continue, alright? And it's not to be like a dick, it's just like, if there's no better option that I can see, I'll just assume the other party's trying to control me, right? And no one, no god, no man, no gods, no one controls me. That's why I became a Pokemon master, alright? That's what leads you down the dangerous path of Pokemon mastery. But again, I try to find a good solution. I try to find one. And oh yeah, I did level up. I don't have any plans. I mean, I'm just leveling Ninja. I hate Ninja. I hate it. I don't want to play Ninja. It's too expensive. So that's why I'm being a Beast Ninja. All right, I'm a Beast Ninja. It's a new class. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I tend to play the game a little differently, but even in a game this old, like, yeah, I like to feel it out, you know? Well, I guess here's the thing, like, if you look at my channel overall here, I pretty much mostly play old games that are some even older than me, and I'm pretty fucking old. And I always go in 100% blind, right? Like, when I boot up a Commodore 64 game and play, good lord, for Beyond Forbidden Forest, which, or whatever, right? I go in 100% blind, even though that, like, yeah, that's, you're gonna fail a lot. You know, and eventually you'll have to cave in and look something up, but I treat this no differently. Like, yeah, I am kind of familiar with I mean, I'm a Final Fantasy fan. I have played FF11 in the past, but I've never gotten far with it. I've never gotten deep into it. It's always been a thing that I would pick up and I'd play for a few months, and then I'd, you know, at a certain point I would just drop off, right? So I never really got a good, strong knowledge base for it. So when I started playing on Horizon, it's basically like I'm playing it for the first time again. Basically. And as such, I like to treat it like any new experience, right? Like, take it as you go, learn as you go, and just, yeah, you know, just feel it out. Just go by feeling, right? And that's just how I play video games. Like, Final Fantasy XI isn't going to be the exception on that. But yeah, I will say that if anything, like, what little knowledge I, like, because hey, I've been through the dunes, I've been to Kufum Island, and then from there things get a little blurry, because I usually don't actually make it, like, level 30 is really when I start to fall off from the game, and then by 50 I usually just quit, right? This is like one of the few times I've gone higher. But I do think that having even that little previous experience, I think it's maybe hurt me more than helped me. If you know what I mean, right? Like, okay, I've started this game many times, and I know you go through your noob zone, and then you go to the dunes, you go to Kufum, and, you know, and I think maybe having done that so many times, it's kind of ingrained in there. And so I just don't know any other way to do it, but I also just don't have enough experience with the game that I even know better options. So in that way, having even a little experience, I think, is maybe a bad thing. It's maybe hurt me. Oh my god, the burn. What? See, okay, look, this is why as much shit as I may have to talk about this old FF11 that I love, I feel like I am no longer the audience for Final Fantasy. I don't understand the community around modern Final Fantasy. I don't get it. They scare me. This is a whole other planet, right? I do not understand Burn. Wait, what? and okay, look, I'll say this. Look, I played the fuck out of Final Fantasy XIV. All right, like I played the hell out of it until I just couldn't anymore. All right, I was deep in there because I actually kind of liked 1.0. And when they re-released with 2.0, I actually liked it. I thought it was a good game, and I preferred it over Final Fantasy XI. I'm being straight, right? Like I played FF14 because I liked it more than FF11. I said it. But that was back when 2.0 just launched. The game was very different than it is now. Over the years, Final Fantasy XIV has become different. It's somehow gotten even simpler. And the community has also changed. Like, in the early days of FF14, the community, I feel, was maybe a little more in line with what you would expect from, like, the FF11 community. But yeah, the community changed over the years too. It also changed for the worse. And nowadays I just don't I don't understand it. I don't like the game. It's a whole different thing, right? Oh, them's fighting words. Them's fighting words right there. Like, no, okay, look, if you were to ask me what the ideal version of FF14 is, it would be 1.0, but with a big asterisk. I think 1.0 was a really strong base, but it had tons of bugs. It was not well optimized. Like, they needed to fix things with it, but they didn't need to completely overhaul the game and turn it into something different. So if they could have gone the fix-it route, I think like 1.0 but better would have been my ideal game, like out of anything, right? But I did like 2.0 when it first came out. I thought the game was good back in 2.0. I liked it. I really, really liked it. But it just with every expansion, it just got worse. And the community also just got worse. But that's my perception on it. Yeah, no, like 1.0 had a lot of technical issues. I totally admit, but I liked the idea of it. The idea of it was pretty cool, I thought. But I mean, hey, if you want a real, if you really want to step into the danger zone with opinions, I mean, I still stand by it, even though I absolutely adore Final Fantasy XI, even if I'm kind of I'm one of the odd players, right? I'll admit it. I ain't gonna tell anyone else how to play, and I just kind of do my own thing, you know? I'm the odd player, but I still love FF11. I have my reasons, right? However, if you want a real hot take, I'd say better than FF14, better than Final Fantasy XI, better than EverQuest or anything else. I still think that honestly the absolute best MMO with the best community and overall the most immersive experience that I have ever played, that struck a really good balance between like super complexity, deep gameplay, intense gameplay, but also being really simple and easy that anyone can pick up, and there's, you know, it's super accessible and casual friendly. City of Heroes. I stand by that. If you want the real hot take, put down your put down your wand and your sword and slip into some spandex, because City of Heroes, I honestly think it beats everything. It is the best MMO, I think. There's my hot take. Which I do play City of Heroes every now and then on the stream. And it's still fun. Yeah, like, no, I bet someone that doesn't know, they think I was gonna say like World of Warcraft or something like that, but no, City of Heroes, like, I shit you not, alright? Yeah, see, I shit you not though, City of Heroes, like, it has insanely complicated gameplay, like, the complexity of character building in City of Heroes, it blows this game out of the goddamn water, alright? You can do insanity in that game. And it matters. Like you can make characters that can solo things that no man should be able to solo. Or you can make a really weak character too. It goes both ways. But either way, the game is super accessible, and at no point do you get this sort of like elitist attitude that you get in a game like this, because guess what City of Heroes also has? A difficulty slider. Yes, so like you can literally play the game on Games Journo mode and just easy your way through it if you want to, and you will get everything that someone tryharding will get, just slower. So like the thing is, the game is very friendly to everyone, but it does reward you for being the tryhard and building a super character, right? Like, because you'll be able to do things no one else can do, and you will get more rewards for it. But you'll never like, you know, you'll never have things that someone else doesn't have because they're a bad player. It's just, it'll take them longer. I can accept being wrong, but look, I know I'm right, so that's... Look, we all know that we are in fact correct, and also the main characters of this story, so since we can all agree on that, yeah, it's fine. But yeah, look, City of Heroes is just a game I have always loved it, pretty much as this, a little bit more. But in a different way. It is a very different experience, but it's the only other game that has really kind of captured my attention the way that this game captures my attention. Like, not EverQuest, not Ultima, not Star Wars Galaxies, or anything else, you know, any of the other interesting games. None of them have really done it for me like City of Heroes. And then this game as a close second. So here's the thing, right? I've tried to get lots of people to play City of Heroes, and I've played the game on the stream here, and pretty much everyone that I have showed the game to, they're like, well, fuck, damn. Like, when I streamed the game, Burn went ahead and installed it and got set up and made some meme characters right on the spot. Like no, the game is in fact that good. But I think what tends to make people guffaw at the idea of City of Heroes being like an amazing MMORPG, I think it's a couple things. One, it's a superhero game, at least on the surface, right? And that immediately puts a lot of people off because they think they get ideas in their head of what that means, and I assure you, it's not what you think it is. But the other thing is if you look at, like, I don't know, the box art for it, it looks like a very, it doesn't even look like you're not getting, like, Marvel Avengers, you're getting the, you know, the bargain bin Defenders, like, that's what it looks like, right? There's a lot of things that if you look at the game, you're gonna have a bad opinion, but when you actually get in there and play it, it is a whole different beast, in a good way. But it's very difficult to really like convey that just telling people about it. It's one of those things you really have to like physically show someone, right? And hey, that's what the stream is for. Yeah, I've seen that. Like, there's people, like, it's weird, like, you know, people that, like, I don't know, they don't like Marvel or whatever, and it's like, that's not City of Heroes' fault. But I totally get it. It's one of those things where it, like, okay, if I were to, you know, if I were just to say superhero game, I think your brain defaults to something really dumb and simple. A game for babies, if you will. But And it might even look like that on the surface, but man, it is not. It is really not. I'll have to play the game on stream again sometime. I don't think I can today because it's already like it's almost dinner time, so I don't really have time to switch games right now. I don't think, but we'll have to look at City of Heroes another day. See, that's the thing though. You don't have to be a hero. That's the great thing about City of Heroes, is that it. I think here's the thing, right? This falls under the preconceptions about the genre, and City of Heroes is at its core not about superheroes. It's really not. It can be, like, it most certainly can be, but the way that the game is set up, it allows you to create whatever type of character you want to make. And that might be a stereotypical hero, right? Or you could just be some vigilante. You can be a straight-up villain if you want. You can be a psychopathic mass murderer that escaped from the asylum. Your character can be whatever you want it to be, and the game gives you enough paths that you can realize that. Like, it's not just your headcanon. You can make it be. And your character can be whatever you want it to be. Your character doesn't even have to really be superpowered either. Like, you could just be a normal guy for the most part. So it's just not exactly what you think it is. It's not going for the typical hero thing, although it certainly can. Like, if you want to play it like that, you can make a stereotypical Superman or whatever with a nice, bright, shiny cape, and you can run around saving civilians and, blowing up purse snatchers or whatever. You can do that if you want to, but you by no means have to. Like, there are so many people with such exotic backstories in City of Heroes. Like half of the fun of that game is just going around and looking at other people's characters, and you can see their backstory and everything, and it gets crazy. Like, people get really creative with what exactly their character is supposed to be, and how they act. I still like one dude where he, through a combination of interesting powers and origins, he set his character up as basically being a soda dispenser. Like, his character was a soda machine, and his powers, so he used water blast powers as a base, but then changed the look and everything of it so that it basically looked like he was shooting, like, Mountain Dew everywhere, like, Mountain Dew, orange soda, that kind of thing, and he set his character up to look like, like some kind of robot soda dispenser, and that's his character. Like, you get weird shit, and I love that. Yeah, Fanta Man. It was great, but like, people do such creative stuff. It is insane, and I love it. I could just look at people's characters in that. Oh, also, a ring at the doorbell. 1 sec. Alright, just some packages. Not sure what they are, I'll open them later. Probably for the wise. But yeah, I won't rant on it too much, but some other day we'll take a look at City of Heroes again. Because yeah, it's a wild ride, and it's still one of my favorite games, just ever. but I can't, like, there aren't enough words to describe just why it is so good. But the funny thing, I guess the funny thing about it is, City of Heroes is a classic MMO. Like, it's, it was like early 2000s. It came out, I think City of Heroes came out roughly around the same time, maybe a little bit before World of Warcraft. So it is still in the classic era of MMOs. Like, it would have come out, like, kind of around the same time as this, right? Or earlier. And it does not fall into a lot of the same traps that games of that era fall into. Like, you don't need a full party of, in that game a full party is 8. You don't need a full party of 8 people to do things. Like, if you build your character really good, like if you are one of those efficiency-seeking power gamers, you know, if you're one of those, you can build a character that can solo content designed for 8 people. Because of the difficulty settings of the game, you can even just challenge yourself, and you have the option to say, okay, when I get missions, I want missions designed for a full party of 8 players at +3 levels, or I think +4 is the highest you can go. So you can do missions at +4 levels above you, designed for a full party of 8, with the hardest types of enemies. Like, you can, if you build a character badass enough, you can do that. But you don't have to. That's the great thing, you don't have to. And something about that game design, it's really stuck with me, and I think it's kind of one of the ideal ways that you can do a game, you know? Like, yeah, if you want to be a min-maxing power gamer, all the power to you, you can do that and you'll be rewarded for it. But you're not special. You know, players that don't play video games as good as you, like, yeah, they can just put the game on easy mode and they can do the same content you can do. They won't get as much for it, but they can, you know, they can complete the content just the same. And that doesn't affect you. You know, what they do doesn't affect you, and what you do does not affect them. And that is, I mean, for me, that's ideal, right? Like, that's how games should be. Just play the game, right? But I would say, to put an asterisk on that, like, while that is kind of the style of game that I really like, I'm not a fan of, you know, weirdly enough, I'm not a fan of FF14 or games like that, right? Where the game is generally really easy. But the reason I don't really like games like that is they don't generally reward you for playing good. like think about it. In FF14, like, normal mode content is brain dead easy. You just have to show up, right? Like, whether you play good or you play bad, it doesn't really matter. You can just go AFK if you really want. The content will get done. Like, there's no, like, you don't get rewarded more for trying harder. I think that's kind of where the game design, that's the misstep for most modern games, is there's not really that much more reward for being good. And I mean, like, having your actions affect others, I do like that to a point. To a point. Oh no, the crafting system was pretty good. I like the crafting system, even if it was kind of worthless. That was the main problem, is like, nobody really needs to buy anything in Final Fantasy XIV, so crafting is a bit of a lost cause. But yeah, I'm trying to think of a good way to phrase it. What I mean when I say that I like City of Heroes design is, like, basically, players cannot negatively impact another player's experience. I think that is honestly important, right? I think it's good if players can, if players can work with each other, if they can impact each other positively, or even just in a neutral way, that's fine. But it's negative player impact, that's what tends to kill games. You know, that's what makes games die eventually. And like in City of Heroes, look, if someone builds a Superman that can, can solo raid content, I mean, that doesn't affect anyone else. If other players, if weaker players can join up with other weaker players, and they are in fact incentivized to do so, and they can help each other out, and they can do the same content but on a lower difficulty, they don't get as much for doing it, but they get the same rewards, just less, right? So, the power gamer does not, they don't negatively impact the other players, they get theirs, right? And the weaker players also, they get theirs, but, no one, you don't get that situation of, oh, you don't have these powers? Get out of my fucking group. Oh, your enhancements, they aren't +3? Get the fuck out. You don't get that, right? That doesn't happen in City of Heroes. And that's what I mean. That's where you need that balance. That's where you need a game that doesn't let players negatively affect each other. Oh, I love that gamer rant about FF14. I love it. The thing is, FF14 is not for me. It's definitely not for me, but it used to be. It was a different game early on. But I've kind of come to accept that it is not for me anymore, and I don't, I got no problems there. I don't like how the game plays, I don't particularly like the community, but I realize that there are many more people that like it than that don't like it, so it's fine, it's a different type of game, not quite for me. Oh, the gamer rant got deleted. That was a mighty strong gamer rant, though. Yeah, that was to be honest, that was kind of getting into supervillain origin story right there. Never go full Joker mode, all right? But yeah, I guess for me, I'm a little more easy come, easy go when it comes to video games. Here's the thing. I've had a lot of games that I've really liked over the years, but I don't think I've ever had a game where I would really I am hardline. I love this. I hate that. This is how I want to do. I've never really been hardline about anything on video games, right? I play them. I enjoy them, I soak them in, I analyze them a little bit sometimes. I get a lot out of them, but I would never really hardline any sort of feelings about a game. I tend to take games as they come, roll with the punches where I need to, and find what I like and what I don't like, but I never found being super hardline on anything to be productive. Yeah, so for crafting in FF14, I really like the actual system. The actual system is super solid. The only game that I feel came kind of close to that would be EverQuest 2, which I don't know how many people have played that, but I actually really liked EverQuest 2 for a while. I didn't like it as much as EverQuest 1, but, it was a different game. For what it was, I liked it. EverQuest 2 had kind of a similar crafting system where you would have, special abilities, crafting professions, that kind of thing. It was actually really similar to how FF14 does. But EverQuest 2, I would say, did it a little better in that that game was designed so that all the crafters, they were all sort of interdependent. Like, you needed crafted goods from other crafters, and I mean FF14 kind of has that too. But in EverQuest, you couldn't like omnicraft. You had to kind of choose, or at least in the beginning. I'm sure it's changed now, but in the beginning, you couldn't like craft everything. You had to choose a crafting profession, and that was your crafting profession. And then everything else you would have to buy from other players. So there was always demand for goods between the trade professions, and the things you could make were fairly valuable to non-trade professions too. So like it worked out. So yeah, EQ2 did that well. I think they changed it eventually. They removed that interdependency. So they kind of, I mean, you know, they FF14'd it, but But yeah, in FF14, I think maybe there's two problems with how they do the crafting. One is that you can omnicraft. So, like, everybody will just craft everything, and it's cheaper to do so. So you'll never, you know, you never really have to buy anything from anyone else. So that kind of removes the whole economy of it. And then the other problem is that when you're, like, if you're a non-crafter, you really don't need anything that crafters can make. Like, if you're, I don't know, a paladin or whatever, any equipment you might need, it just drops from dungeons. Like, it either drops directly from a dungeon, or, you know, you get tokens for it from a raid, or you get like your weekly tokens that you can convert into equipment. Like the game just gives you the best equipment that you can possibly have. It just gives you it. So you don't like the crafted stuff is a downgrade for the most part. And you never really need it. You know, there's no need. So I'd say the problem with how FF14 does its crafting is it's a good system, but because of how it's designed, no one needs anything. Like, it's a completely superfluous system. I don't understand. Like, yeah, I've seen people in FF14 that don't understand how the crafting system works, and I don't get it. Like, it is a very simple system. But yeah, the main issue is just that no one needs anything. Like, a good video game economy, or I mean really a good economy, you could just put a period there. It comes from supply and demand. If there's an infinite supply and no demand, you don't have an economy. You just have a bunch of people making things because making things is fun. And that's not really an economy. Like that, like you can't really tell me that isn't what FF14, like that's pretty much how the economy is. It's just everyone can do everything, supply is infinite. Some items are worth something, but like it's always random what that is. And usually it's not crafted goods. Like the things that have value in FF14 tend to be things that you have to do like the rare hard content for, right? Like I'm even struggling for examples, because most of the stuff from, say, Savage or whatever, you can't trade any of that. So there's no economy around it. But I don't know, like rare drops in Eureka. Most people just hate Eureka and they just don't do it. And I think that's literally the only reason why that stuff has any value, is because the players don't like it, because it's more like Final Fantasy XI. But yeah, I won't sit here and hate on FF14 or anything. I mean, even the crafting system, again, the system is designed well. It's designed very well. But it just doesn't incentivize people to really engage with it. And that's the issue. Oh, imagine failing at Animal Crossing. Well, look, I've actually never played an Animal Crossing game. I was a, look, I'm a Harvest Moon kid, alright? See, this is why my channel, like, this is why we stay nice and small, alright? It's because like, look, I'll get you on board with a certain thing, and then I'll immediately flip it around, and I'll turn it on its head, and it's just like I said. I don't have hardline opinions on very many things, and really not on anything gaming related, because gaming should just be about having fun. Like that is why I take such a such a carefree attitude with FF11, even though most people play it like super tryhard, right? It's because it's just fun to me, just fun. But I can still appreciate. I can appreciate good systems, right? But I can notice the bad systems too. I think that's where I tend to lose a lot of people. Like, there will be games that I absolutely gush over and I love them and I can sing their praises, but big but. I have to also say the bad parts, you know? I have to say, like, you know, okay, yeah, I love that, but there's always a but, and then that's where I lose everyone. But I'm okay with that. Oh no, bacon with any meal. I mean, bacon is pretty good. I will say that bacon's some pretty good stuff. And, oh, a pineapple on pizza. You mean the purest of pizza. The way pizza was meant to be. God, I made a pizza earlier. I wish I had some pineapple to put on it. But, oh, as a... No, I use the normal, you know, tomato sauce. Yeah. Look, that's how I like it. That's how I like it. I will also put pineapple on burgers, too. Pineapple burgers are actually pretty good. Pineapple on hot dog is also a winner. Pineapple goes with everything. Oh, I told my pet to stop resting, but I still need to rest. Oh. But, I just had a thought, okay, on the bacon goes with everything. That reminds me of something. When I was getting some meats, right, as I do, in the supermarket, so there's a thing I like called sukuk, which is, it's like a fermented beef sausage. It tastes amazing, and they're usually spicy, and with garlic in them, they're great. But they are a halal meat, right? And that's not why I get it. I just think it tastes good. But I noticed something when I bought it in the supermarket, which was they put the halal meat directly next to the bacon-wrapped pork sausages. And I had a moment where I was like, oh, that's probably not a good idea. Again, to me that doesn't matter. But I'm pretty sure that matters to some people. Also, oh god, pineapple and mashed potatoes. I don't know. Have to try that. Well, yeah, I honestly figure, because they had the sukuk in a different place, like, in the past. I'm assuming it was just sort of a restructuring thing, and someone didn't think about it, and they're just like, well, you know, this It's a sausage, right? Goes with the other sausages. That's, like, I will be very generous, and that is what I will assume. And that said, people that really care about the state of their meat like that, they probably would go to a more specialist market rather than just, you know, just going to the big old supermarket, right? I would assume. So probably not that big of a deal, but just it's something that stood out. Also, I'm kind of realizing that I had no real plan for FF11 today, and then I just sort of started grinding, right? This kind of happens a lot. I don't have a solid plan, and then I just start grinding, and the next thing I know, levels are happening. I don't know what it is. I find... This is sort of how I feel about RPGs in general, usually more on the JRPG end, but I sort of find grinding out enemies, just kind of, you know, farming, grinding enemies, whatever, I find a certain zen in it, you know? It turns into an almost relaxing activity, like, you know, some people, they have their model trains, or their bonsai gardens, or whatever, but I have killing virtual bats in a video game. That's my bonsai garden. Yeah, for me, fishing also. Fishing in this game is also kind of, that is a super zen activity. Like, I'll start fishing, and then next thing I know, I have an inventory full of fish. And I don't know where the time went, I don't know what happened. I just know that my pants are full of fish now, right? Oh. I see. The true Chad response. Which reminds, my wife is probably gonna be hungry for dinner soon. It's almost that time. I'm kind of still full. I made a pizza, but probably be that time soon. But, yeah, so, aside, the whole reason I'm leveling up Ninja, I mean, yeah, it's so that I can sub Ninja to Beastmaster. And, well, I guess not just Beastmaster, I eventually would like to level other things up, too. But, I'm kind of... So, like, this time around, I'm kind of taking the approach that I wanna focus on leveling things and kind of get it out of the way. Before I don't want to switch around constantly. I feel like that's one of the things that kind of burns me out. I would rather, like, okay, I hate Ninja, I don't like leveling it, so rather than kind of switching back and forth and occasionally torturing myself with Ninja, I feel like, okay, I'll power it out, you know, I will Beastmaster sub grind my way to 37, and then I'll be done with Ninja, I never have to look at it ever again, right? And then I can move on to something else that I wanna level up, or just, you know, just keep leveling up Beastmaster, right? I'll have the sub leveled up. So that's kind of, that's how I look at it. Though the honest truth is I might need to level up Thief some more, because when I'm like, if I'm gonna get in a Beastmaster burn party, I would use Ninja as the sub. But if I'm just soloing, I tend to use Thief as my sub job, like just because loot, right? I enjoy money. So when I play Beastmaster, I'm usually /Thief, and it works out for me. When I'm done leveling, I have stacks of loot to sell. I like that. But I might want to level Thief up more than just 15. I might want to actually make it like a proper sub job, right? Burn, that just sounds like fiction. That's it like it just sounds fantastical. This is the reality that we live in. Oh yeah, I hadn't thought I should probably level up White Mage just to have it like as a viable sub for certain things. Ooh, the old you getting ghosted. Man, I have so many fond memories of getting murdered by goblins and ghosts and the occasional ghoul in Valkyrie Dunes. Something that I used to remember from retail, but I have not had it happen on this server or any other private server actually. And I guess maybe it's just that people know better now. But something that used to happen like on retail back in the day was, especially in Kufum, but anywhere really, elementals. Like I remember elementals just aggroing the fuck out of the mages constantly, and then the party just wipes. But I haven't seen that happen on any private servers, and I'm wondering if they've changed how that works, or if it's just sort of a player skill thing. Like, you know, we know better now, maybe. But yeah, I hadn't really thought about leveling up the White Mage. Like, yeah, I figured ninja for parties, thief when I'm just solo and I want money, but, yeah, White Mage, I think for certain difficult fights, having White Mage would be a good idea. Nice! The old pet sacrifice. Yeah, I'm not sure with the elemental thing. I'm not sure if it's just that players know where to camp now, so they don't camp near elementals, or if it's like if the range of elementals has been toned down. Like what I remember back in retail was like I remember fighting things in like Kufum Island, and you know, we would be like in kind of the passageway where the worms are. And I remember distinctly that suddenly the mages would just be like, suddenly a lightning elemental would just be right on our asses, just nuking us to death. And it came out of nowhere, right? Like it had to have come from way out in the field past that sort of tunnel. So I feel like maybe they used to have a much higher aggro radius, maybe. I mean, now you can get pretty close to them before they notice you with spells. Though I would say that while I kind of, you know, thinking back to those old days and just getting wrecked by elementals, honestly, if they have changed it, I think I prefer them not aggroing from a mile away. I think I prefer them just having a normal aggro radius. God, I keep sort of, I don't have pet commands. I don't have them. Before I was leveling ninja, I was like yesterday. I was leveling up Beastmaster to 52. So I was doing lots of pet command ready. They're gonna kill my bats. Gonna just kill them dead. So I'm gonna be ready to charm some new bats. Okay, that's dead. And I think this time I will focus on killing the little bats. Probably for the best. Doesn't take too long to kill them. And then I'll hit the Gigas or Gigas or however you want to say it, giant. I'll hit that with my weapons. There we go. And yeah, paralyzed. Okay, that worked out. And now I rest. And yeah, I'd say Ninja is probably gonna be like, yeah, I mean, so like, let me see, I can actually show you. Let me rest for a second now. So, okay, job levels. Yeah, so I really don't have that much time in, right? Like, I have Beastmaster up to 52. I have Red Mage, so yeah, I took Red Mage to 30, and then I unlocked Beastmaster, and then I just took that up to 50, and, you know, then I got Ninja, so yeah, Ninja will be the second highest class I have. But I'm thinking, I do have White Mage up to 21, because my first run was like, I did White Mage first, got to 21, got my sub job, then I leveled up Red Mage, and then BST, then Ninja. And then I got Thief in there at some point because I wanted more loot. Yeah, they made like Utsasemi has a bit longer of a recast timer. I don't think it's that bad, but I don't know. Like, I'm not necessarily against Ninja. It's not really a class that I enjoy. I tend to like the pet classes. You know, I like Beastmaster, I like Summoner, I like Dragoon even. And when eventually when we can be Puppet Masters, I would like to try that out. I've never tried it. Looks fun. But yeah, Ninja is just not really a class that I've ever had any real interest in. So I don't, and Ninja can get really expensive too. Like this if you let it, Ninja will just eat your money, and I'm not cool with that. I don't have that much money to go around. Let's see. I'll try to find a giant first. Have I killed all the giants? Trying to get a good look around here. Nope, there's more giants to kill. And yeah, I do get the fast attacking. I do get that. Although I would say I like Thief / Ninja a little more than Ninja. Even though I'd say Thief is probably the less active class. Because, you know, you don't really use the ninjutsu too much as a Thief main, right? But, I don't know, I'm not opposed to Thief like I am Ninja. And I like the idea of making tons of guild, too. That also appeals to my sensibilities. Oh, burn, it's getting wild again. Uh-oh. Sponge out of control. But I'm trying to think, let's see, other than like the pet classes, I mean, what class in this game would I really like to try out? I mean, again, I've said my piece on Red Mage, right? I like the idea of a jack-of-all-trades character. You know, a character that can kind of switch between fighting with a sword or casting offensive magic or defensive healing. I like the idea. No, okay, now the wife is hungry. So, alright, I'm gonna wrap up my thoughts and then we'll get out of here. Oh yeah, Red Mage slash Ninja. That I really like the idea of that. Like, dual wielding swords and then, you know, putting in thunder or whatever on it and doing, like, having your magic sword damage. I like that. That's a good idea. Great in concept. Trying to avoid that bat there. I want to try to get to a hallway where I can kind of just... Okay, I'm in a hallway, so I can just log out. But, again, problem with Red Mage is what I want and what the average party wants out of Red Mage is kind of opposed, so... Yeah, not quite for me. Maybe solo, right? I think... So I think for like BCNM fights, stuff like that, Red Mage would be fine. But not for partying. Well, I think again it's just like it's dinner will be soon. It's so I guess what I meant there, what I meant was that Red Mage is it's just what people want out of a party and what I want to do with the class is two different things. I think that's the best way to put it. Oh, I'm disconnecting. Oh, I think it's the day rolling over. Oh yeah, new day. But anyway, so I hope we had a good banter here. The wife is very hungry. I'll make something for myself too. I hope I was not too problematic here. We had that little spat with that other group a while earlier, but like, hey, look, I did thank them. I thanked the dude for pointing out the tower to me. All right, like I didn't just like, you know, stare at him menacingly while stealing his mobs. You know, I once I knew there was a better option, I took it. Though I will go back out to, like, if Kufam Island and if it empties out, I'll go back there and keep killing, because it is faster if there's no competition. But otherwise, I hope you had fun. I'm surprised you stick around for all this. We go places. We just talk about whatever here. Sometimes we get a little angry, but usually not. Usually not so much. We're pretty chill here. Yeah, I'm gonna look into the maze. Like, after I do dinner and I just play the game on my own time, I'll go check out the maze and see how that is. If I can go there and if there's no competition and the enemies are, like, if they're as beatable as the ones here and there's good things to charm, I'll totally do that up to level 37. So, okay. But I'm gonna get out of here, so I will see you guys probably tomorrow. Though we might not be doing FF11, but we'll be doing something. So, till then, have a good one. I'm gonna go make some dinner now. See you all later. Bye.